Hotep Maat, peace and love. Can y'all hear me?
Hotep, Hotep.
Peace,
Hotep,
brother.
peace and love. Peace and love. Welcome to the Teachings of Maat Study Guide Sundays, Melanin and Dark Consciousness book study by author Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. Before I introduce the panel, I would like to start with our beautiful affirmation. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Unki Ma'at, Un-N-S, Nintet Oset Ma'at, Menhepapet Ma'at, Her Nkui, Her Iku. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love, everybody. Welcome to our beautiful book study. My name is Arcad Infinite, and I am the chairman and the Techet of the beautiful book study, and I'm a master student of the great Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. I am a true-hearted follower of truth based on ancestral artifacts, a love of my people unconditionally, dedicated to Kemet and learning the Medu Netta, and loyal to Ma'at at all times. Next, I would like to introduce the General, Ahati Maat. Ahati Maat was taught under the great Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. He is a serious student and teacher of Kemetic culture and history for several years. He has written multiple books, including the textbook called Journey of Your Soul series, essays, and articles. Furthermore, he hosts in-person and online classes, weekly podcasts, and periodically creates documentaries. He also has experience in public speaking and academic debating. He is responsible for the creation of this study guide and the teachings of Ma'at. Next, we have the great Tehuti Mos. Tehuti Mos is humbled at the opportunity to be at home in Ma'at with the guidance of Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra, the Saba Saba. His quest for the truth, as they call it, has brought him to the facts. In this experience, he has learned and will continue to teach that everyone has the truth, but it is the facts in which the foundation of anything one bases a decision upon should rest. This statement has increased his ability to find his place in the cosmos, and that place is here with you as a student of Ma'at. His journey began in the truths of Catholicism, Christianity, and Hebraic religions. Realizing that these truths still left him with many unanswered questions and more confused, he continued his quest and found the facts in Ma'at through the teachings of Saba Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. He is home, Tu'a, to the ancestors. His interests are first in his family and second to manipulating this matrix to his will. The rest is all commentary. He is an ambassador for the teachings of Ma'at and the host of this study guide. His other interests are health, healing, investment vehicles, teaching of the facts of this wonderful existence. In closing, he is very excited to be on this journey with you and to bring peace to this world through Ma'at. As students of Ma'at, we will continue to grow and learn together and be the best versions of ourselves on earth as representatives of our ancestors. Hotep Ma'at. And our presenter for today is the architect, the great SCRIIIBE. Is a writer, poet, spoken word artist, audio producer, engineer, healer, spiritual advisor, consultant, business creator. He is a master student of the Natiru, a true follower and protector of Ma'at, a scribe of Tehuti and Ma'at. He studies under the master teacher, Saba Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. For the scribe, quality always outweighs quantity. He enjoys observing reality and incorporating these observations into his writings and creations to assist in awakening of dormant DNA and reversing of negative hypnosis. Peace and love. Welcome, everybody.
Hotep, peace and love. How you brothers doing?
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Excellent. That's great. Peace and love to the chat. Shout out to everyone who is live with us here. Angie Martinez, shout out to you. The newly revised Minku Ara Mary Ma'at, the great brother, peace and love to you. Squano Trending, of course, shout out to you, Jody, peace and love. All right, so of course, before we get started, we always like to give you guys a rundown of what we're doing and how to contact us and how to build and how to grow with us. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. All right, this is the official Teachings of Ma'at organization or website, teachingsofma'at.org. If you have not been to this website, be sure to go here and, and check us out. We have a lot of great information here for all of you to indulge in. All right. So when you first get to this website, we have the ability for you guys to sign up for our newsletter that we send out every single week. It's free and it's packed full of beautiful information. All right. So it's just this box right here. It says subscribe. You enter your email address, sign up, and you'll get 10% off your first purchase when you sign up for our newsletter. All right, it's simple, and it's a great way to continue to expand and grow and build with us, and as we connect and grow this family that we're doing. All right, so we also have our shop section here. This is where you can purchase the official Tehuti's teachingsofma'at.org short sleeve, long sleeve, and hoodies as well. So it's beautiful merchandise. And it allows you to carry that energy as you walk around, as you got the Tehuti Pod Class logo on your chest. All right, so peace and love. And we also have the Saba Tehuti's great ebooks, Stepping Out of the Matrix. We did an entire breakdown session on that, full 13 episodes. We have that playlist set up for you all, so if you haven't watched those videos, go through and check those out and let us know what you think. Like and comment the videos. And here's Melanin Dark Consciousness. This is what we're breaking down today. We started last week with the great brother Arcad. So make sure you guys purchase this book as well. All right, it's a quick buy now, and you'll get the download right there to you. All right, and we have some beautiful affirmations here, and we have some great stuff coming this coming up week. So if you have not signed up for the website yet, if you have not created an account, now would be the definite time to do so. So you just sign up here. It's easy, it's free, and it'll give you access to this page right here, the members only access, where will allow you guys to start to accumulate a lot of different teachings and ways for you to study. All right, so this will be getting new information added to it this week, so be sure to go ahead and create your account and sign up. All right, I'll stop sharing my screen. Now I'll pass it to the great brother, Ahati Maat.
Peace and love to you, brothers. Peace and love to the chat. And let me share the screen here. I always like to start off our shows with a little bit of positive energy. Some energy to get the blood flowing. Get the nitrous oxide flowing inside of you. So let's do some hailing. Why do we do some hailing? Because it uplifts us and it encourages us, not only throughout the night, but into the rest of the week as well. So this is the Henu, or the hailing affirmation, and it starts off in the Medu Netter. E neb ma'at per em ma'ati. Hail ma'at is everything, we come forth from her. Henu Saba Tehuti Amun Hotep Ra. Hail Saba Tehuti. Henu Kemet. Hail Kemet. Makaru, Makaru, Makaru. Victory, victory, victory. That is our victory voice. So I hope everybody listening tonight and people that come back in for the back episodes and reruns, I hope that you are in your victory voice and that the rest of your week is victorious. Now, I want to show you something that's really great. When you go to that beautiful website that our architect, the SCRIIIBE, created, and you just got to scroll down to the first page in the website, put in your email, and click the red sign up button. It's really, really simple. You will get this free weekly newsletter. And the thing about this that's great is that after these lessons or these shows that we produce for you, you always get a short summary of what was spoken about. So it's the teaching after the teaching. So on the first page of the newsletter, you see Teachings of Ma'at, the movement begins with you. Why is it a movement? And why does it begin with you? It's a movement because anything that's not moving is just words and no action is taken. So therefore it's nothingness. It's inert. And it begins with you because you are that important. Nothing is more important than you because without you, there is no momentum and there is no movement. So Teachings of Ma'at, the movement begins with you. Book study breakdown and news. So each newsletter says the issue number. This is issue 18. This is last week's, and January 8th. It's this week's, but it's last week's teaching summary. And we always start off with a greeting. And the greeting says, thank you to our consistent supporters and to everyone else who comes out and shows us love too. We appreciate you as well. Teachers of Ma'at is an organization that is founded on reciprocity. It means it's a give and take relationship. Thank you to those who understand and contribute. If you do not have the finances to give back to this great informational channel, give your time instead with service. Become a member. Now let's break out of the matrix. So we have a mission that we're on right now. That's in the About Us section right here. And our mission is to bring back home to the mindset of Ma'at as many sisters, brothers, and their children as possible. Free melanated people from the Tamahu, the Caucasian matrix. Free them from this matrix we're in. That is our mission. Then when you keep scrolling down, you come to the news page. And the thing that's great about the news pages is that it's really condensed, it's really short, and it's really straight to the point. So if you're on the go and you're real busy like me, you can just pull this up on your mobile phone, read a few sentences, and you already got the summary for what happened in the previous show. So last week the speaker was Arcad. He started our new series, Melanin, Dark Consciousness. He read Tehuti Amenhotep Ra's book, pages 1 through 8, focusing on race and melanin. The etymology of race means tribe, a nation, from the Arabic word Ra, meaning beginning, origin. Where did they get Ra from? Learn more to find out. Now, why is your melanin so valuable? And if you want to learn why your melanin is so valuable and so much more, make sure to sign up today for a free newsletter. Keep scrolling down, and we come to the graphics for the week. These awesome graphics, and what I like about this too is we always put in something from the teaching, but something extra as well. So you always get Medu Netter. And if you're not familiar with Medu Netter, the Medu Netter is the actual word for the language of what's being called the ancient Egyptians. And right here, Arcad pointed out the retinue, and the Ret'au, and the Nehesu, were the Sudanese tribes from the Tuat, the results of the masturbation of Ra. So we always have great graphics. The graphics team is Arcad and the Scribe. Keep scrolling down. We have our membership. So we're always looking for writers, editors, managers, digital designers, social media content creators, and organizers for physical meetups. If you have a skill or talent that could be beneficial to the Teachings of Ma'at organization, contact the leadership at teachingsofma'at.org. It's leadership@teachingsofma'at.org. Now, if you don't have a skill or you believe you don't have a talent, let me tell you, everybody does. We can help you find that skill or talent. All you have to do is ask. And the way you ask is you can go to the website and you can find a little contact tab there. It's right. It pops up just like if you want Amazon shopping or one of these shopping sites. Or you can just go to leadership@teachingsofma'at.org and somebody will help you. So I just want to tell you that Kemet was a nation first. This is it's not just a spiritual system or spiritual belief, but it was also a nation. It is a nation. So we don't care what your beliefs are. We don't care We want everyone. It doesn't matter what you believe or how you may perceive. We may look at you if you don't believe exactly like who we are. We'll take Muslims, we'll take Christians, whoever. Keep going down. It says things to consider before skipping the study. So what are some things to consider? Well, what are the weekly studies about? They are based off the teachings of Tehuti and our ancestors of the Nile Valley, a way to connect our community of truth seekers with the leadership of the teachings of Ma'at. You are now witnessing his, Tehuti's wisdom in action. Similar to all movements, information without good vibration manifests nothing. So if you have been searching your entire life like me for a teaching that can free you from fear, stress, worry, anger, then you found the right home. Even if you are very knowledgeable about Ma'at and Kemet, then we could use your service to free the minds of our people. All are welcome. So if you got things going on in your life, you got it all together, you have all the answers, please join us because I would like to know what they are. Keep scrolling down and we come to the merch, the teachings of Ma'at merch, and we have it for men, women, and children. And the best part about this is you get 10% off your first purchase when you sign up. So all you gotta do again is go to the website, go to the homepage, scroll all the way down, put your email in, hit that red rectangular button that says sign up, and you'll automatically get 10% off your first purchase when you sign up. Even better is when you become a member, you get 10% off forever. Forever is a very long time. I can't even give you a number. I don't even know what forever is. So get 10% off forever. All I know is it's a very long time. And as long as you are a Teaching Ma'at member, you will get 10% off the merch forever. And the Scribe is always creating and building new merch. So we all look forward to what he is going to invent next. Keep scrolling down. Oh, by the way, you have long sleeve, short sleeve, you have hoodies, and I'm sure he has other things in the works right now. Then we have the teachingsofma'at.com social hub. So you can follow us here at YouTube, Teachings of Ma'at. You can follow, please go out and support our spiritual leader, Tehuti Amenhotep Ra, at his YouTube channel at Mystical TV. He has a great podcast every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And if you're not sure what time it is, you can always go to our website and we have the time zones listed there for you. So you can check it out there. But please go over there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bells so that you will not miss one episode. It's definitely worth your time. We also have Twitter and TikTok. So when you go to our Twitter and TikTok channels, you won't find ladies twerking. You won't find us just eating food and laughing insanely to ourselves. You will actually get more knowledge that we're not even presenting during these shows. Again, it's always about getting extra knowledge from us. So go over to twitter.com right now and TikTok and hit that subscribe button. And like I said before, if you have any questions at all, do not be afraid to ask. You can just scan the QR code right here or go to teachingsofma'at.org. So we keep scrolling down. And of course, we cannot do this without you, our great supporters. I'm going to mention some of them soon. You can scan the QR codes for the Cash App and PayPal. And even better, I believe we're the only ones that have this in the conscious community. We have crypto. So if you have a crypto wallet, you just go to teachingsofma'at.org, donate, and you go to Teachings of Ma'at wallet. Again, if you have questions, just send it to the website. Somebody will help you out very quickly. And you can donate there. Again, we can't do anything without your donations. This takes a lot of time, takes a lot of support. And then finally, we have the Teachers of Ma'at membership. We have the active members. We have Sadeeki, Asani, Oba Allah. and we have Angie Martinez. And the active members, you will see them on the panel with us towards the end of the show. All active members will be on the panel with us at some point. And then the non-actives are just as valuable. These are the people in the background that are helping out with a lot of support. It's the first female couple of teachers of Ma'at. It is a new Ka and Antu. We have Sandra Carey, and we have Big Vapes, Tabu Damo. And shout out to everyone there. Appreciate you. Then we have the Ma'at supporters. These are just people like you in the chat that hear something they like, or for whatever reason it is, they just want to help and support the truth. And that is Nito Campbell, Artistman Hawkins, True Seeker 22, E Manifesto, Shannon Southard, and Beged Leisure. Thank you to all. And we're almost done here. We're almost done. When you get your 10% off and you get your t-shirts or your merch, I believe the Scribe is still sending out business cards, a few business cards with the merch. So you get business cards if you don't like to talk to people in the streets or wherever you are, your family members. All you got to do is say, hey, how's it going? Are you into the knowledge? They say, yes, we are. I've tried this. It's a proven tactic. They say, yes, we are. You just hand them the card. Short and simple. And they can scan the barcode here, or they can scan, the QR codes, or they can scan the QR codes here. And it's real simple. You really don't have to say anything. So these are the business cards. If you really like this idea and you're into talking to people and you know how to advertise and do all that, and you want to get business cards, again, go to the website, ask how can I get these business cards, and somebody will help you out. And then finally, for the new members, you will always get a membership card. Now, why do we give out membership cards? We give out membership cards because as a people, it just brings the unity closer. When you're holding something in your hand tangibly, you can say, and look at it with your photo on it, you can say, I'm a part of this, because you do it with your driver's license, you do it with your state ID, and we're not really a part of that system. So this system you could be a part of because it's actively working towards breaking you out of the matrix and giving you a true support system, not only in this world, but in the world to come. So for the active members, you'll get a face profile, and then on the back, you'll always get your position. The Kentiu Sish, you'll get a member number, you'll get the date you join, and then you'll get the commit color codes. And then I live for Ma'at. This is on the back of your membership card. And for the non-members, you get the same thing. The same front of the card looks the same. And then on the back, it just says supporter. So the non and the actives, you both get your membership cards. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and pass the mic to the presenter tonight, which is the Scribe.
Hotep Ma'at, everyone. Peace and love, peace and light. Hope you all have had a wonderful week and weekend. And we're going to top it off here, with some knowledge, as we say. All right. So, of course, before we get started, it wouldn't even be right if we don't give our great brother Nito Campbell his flowers. Peace and love, Nito Campbell. Thank you for your consistent support. It's very much appreciated, my brother. Thank you, my brother. All right, so now we're going to share the book. Let's go. Melanin Dark Consciousness. If you do not have this book, I posted the link in the chat. So go ahead and hit that link and get that book so you can follow along with us, and you can also read and study outside of these classes here. All right. All right, let's start here. Chromatic. Show spell pronunciation chromatic. An adjective pertaining to colors. Music, involving a modification of the normal scale by the use of accidentals, progressing by semitones. especially to a tone having the same letter name, as in C to C sharp, the chromatic scale. All right, so all the other scales in traditional Western music are subsets of this scale. Each pitch is separated from its upper and lower neighbors by the interval of 1/2 step or semitone. In tonal and other music, this scale finds little use outside of decorated run-ups or downs, as it has no harmonic direction and is considered cliched. The term chromatic is understood by musicians to refer to music which includes tones which are not members of the prevailing scale, and also a word descriptive of those individually non-diatonic tones. Listen to this chromatic scale starting on B, 1/2 step lower than the chromatic scale on C. So any of you piano players or even instrument players, this should sound familiar to you, the chromatic scale. In Kemet, the wisest teacher second to Ra was Tehuti. He was represented with an ibis head, which represented the tech of the scales of judgment. We will get into Tehuti and his accomplishments in another lesson. What I want to focus on is what the Greeks stole and renamed the 7 Hermetic Principles. All right, which were the teachings of Tehuti before his name was raped in Greece and renamed Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes, thrice the great, 3 times great. Below is the real Tehuti. Of course, here is the ibis-headed Tehuti with the crescent moon. Below is the mutated, warped Greece rendition of the black god. Right here. Well, Tehuti had 7 to 9 principles that were taught throughout Kemet. We will deal with one of these principles now and another later on in this lesson. Right now, what I would like to focus on is the principle of vibration, which is the number 3. Nothing rests, everything moves. Everything is vibrating. All right. So 9 axioms of Tehuti, and which the Kabbalion is what talks about the 7 Hermetic principles, which comes from this. All right. So the principle of mentalism, the all is mind, the universe is mental. Number 2, the principle of correspondence, as above, so below. As below, so above. Number 3, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates, everything is dual. That's I put these into rhymes to help me remember. So, do it what's best for you to remember these things, right? The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. The opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Number 6, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Number 7, the principle of causality. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law, but not recognized. There are several planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Number 8, the principle of growth and creation. Growth is a manifestation of size altering from one point in time and space to another. Creation is a manifestation of beginning and on to a specific designated point as found in the seed of the thought that initiates the idea of creation. Number 9, the principle of breathing. Everything appears to be breathing inward and outward. This appears to be the principle by which one acknowledges life. But in actuality, true life existed before the breath or the necessity to breathe to exist. All right, so Thus, everything has its origin in oscillation, and melanin is openly associated with sound and its manipulation and redirecting of light. Sounds are measured in what are called octaves, which comes from the word agduad, which means 8. Tehuti was known as the master of the city of 8 called Kanimu. The city of 8, which represents in Kemet all life origins. We will address that in another lesson, but for now, let's look at the measurement of sound called waves. All right, so that's a very deep and important sentence structure right here, you know, especially bringing out how, you know, that sounds are measured in what are called octaves. All right, and melanin and oscillation are openly associated, you know, with its ability to manipulate sound and light. So that's a very important thing to understand if you don't know that. Octave, a noun, music. A tone on the 8th degree from a given tone. B, the interval encompassed by such tones. C, the harmonic combination of such tones. Or D, a series of tones or of keys of an instrument extending through this interval. A pipe organ stop whose pipes give tones as an octave above the normal pitch of the keys used. So it's a tone 8 degrees up from a given tone. That's an octave. A series or group of 8. What most people do not know is that sound and oscillation create physical matter. Right, and Tehuti has spoken about this and taught this in his pod class a couple times, showing where vibration can destroy an object because it starts to resonate at the same frequency that it was created with. So that's a very, very important fact to understand. Each light is an octave. The 48th octave being infrared light, the 49th being regular light as seen by your own eyes, the visual light spectrum, and the 50th octave being ultraviolet light. The ultraviolet light is a different octave from regular light. The 7 lights are colors of the spectrum, and also the infrared light being an octave below that 49th light octave. All right, so here is the measurement of light. And this is the word, the angstrom. It's what they use to measure the wavelengths. All right, so the visible light spectrum goes from around 392 hertz, right, to 698 hertz. So that's how we perceive light. You know, the light that you see is only being that's what's being reflected from whatever object that it is. So it's not that these colors are actually these colors. This has to deal with light and the way that we perceive light visually, because you can also visualize. You can have a visualization and see without your physical eyes through other means of vibration, because that's all that light is vibration and oscillations. All right, so the octave of visible light is 40 octaves up from the middle audio octave and 40 octaves up from the alpha brainwave octave, not shown here. Light, however, is measured by its wavelength, whereas sound is measured by its frequency. Frequency is a measure of how many waves occur in a given amount of time. A common unit of measure for frequency is the hertz. 1 hertz equals 1 cycle per second. A frequency of 60 hertz means that 60 cycle waves occur in 1 second. All right, so this is a good chart here. If we were to raise middle C, which has a frequency of 523 hertz by 40 octaves, we would have a very high frequency of 5.750444581 times 10 to the 14th. That's the hertz. That is 581 million hertz. Because of these unwielding numbers, light is measured by the length of a wave. The higher frequency means that there are more waves occurring in a given amount of time. That's the high pitched. Thus, waves become shorter as the frequency becomes lower, which the shorter waves, as the frequency becomes lower, that's what you feel as bass. That's the slow, longer waves. Waves of light are quite short. For example, the center frequency for the color green has a wavelength that is 0.000005132 meters long. All right, so to make this easy, we measure visible light in a unit called the angstrom. 1 angstrom equals 0.0001 times 10 to the 6th meters. 1,000 angstrom equals 0.1 times 10 to the 6 meters. The colors of visible light are typically measured in the thousands of angstroms. All right, so this is a good chart to screenshot, or if you get the book, you'll have it right there on you. So thus we see that sound vibration creates lights. Isaac Newton states, "Are not the gross bodies and light convertible into one another, and may not bodies receive much of their activity from the particles of light which enter their composition? Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared." According to the equation, the maximum amount of energy obtainable from an object to do active work is the mass of the object multiplied by the square of the speed of light. In physics, E equals mc squared is the equation that expresses an equivalence between energy and mass in direct proportion to the square of the speed of light in a vacuum. Several definitions of mass and special relativity may be validly used with this equation. The equation was first published by Henry Poincare in 1900 and later re-derived in a slightly different formulation in 1905 by Albert Einstein in what are known as his Annus Mirabilis wonderful year papers. Thus, C squared is the conversion factor required to sometimes convert units of mass to units of energy, i.e. the energy per unit mass. In unit-specific terms, E, joules, or kilograms, m squared, s squared. M is the kilograms multiplied by 299,792,458 milliseconds squared. In other world, mass has its root in light and energy, and light has its root in sound and octaves. We must understand this in order to move further in this lesson. Think. Now that we overstated that, let's get back to melanin. Well, you will soon realize after this that we have never really left that topic. Let's look at neuromelanin. It functions as an organizing molecule for all and in all living systems, using established properties such as photons, direct energy ion exchange, and sensitive proton enzymes. It directs light on its finest level, photonic light, into itself and organizes it. Neuromelanin is a self-synthesis, self-correctional molecule and is self-regulating. It is conscious. It needs no activist. It acts as a repair mechanism as the T cells do in body and tissue regeneration through sustained or direct current. What do you think of when you hear the word current? Electricity. Light melanin redirects light and attracts light to itself. This is an ancient axiom of like attracts like in everything is mind, as we read above, or the law of causality. Interesting enough, they have made a whole movie based on the laws of Tehuti. This movie is called The Secret, in which they show the black god in the very beginning inside a mirror, a pyramid. The Secret DVD discussing the laws of attraction that were first taught by Tehuti. And I remember watching this probably when I was 15, 16 years old. And, you know, for it to come back around and see, of course, of how it has the entire way that they received this information in the beginning. And you only see one small image of Tehuti, or two, and his name is never brought up again. You know, it just goes to show that they know where the information comes from, but they don't want you to know that because you'll go to that, right? This movie became so powerful that Oprah did 2 shows on it. Of course, they discussed everything except for the fact that in ancient Egypt, this is not a secret, but the law that was used to govern our societies for thousands of years and was taught to all the pharaohs by the priest who represented Tehuti and Maat. So we see that melanin attracts light and that light attracts like according to the universal law. This is because melanin is liquid light, the physical manifestation of conscious light. As the great Phil Valentine stated once, melanin is the characteristic of the omniscient being into the corporal characteristic of material being. Melanin is light consciousness manifest. consciously attracting its former self to keep its manifestation existing. This was fully understood in ancient Kemet and was written and recorded on thousands of papyri. It recreates its existence and purpose every time a child is born into the world. Let me make plain. The essence of man was known as his or her ku, meaning light, and was associated with his breath as well. The Per Imheru, Book of the Dead, Plate 26, Chapter 78, and page 161, E.A. Wallace Budge, I know ku is in his breath in my body. All right, now stop there. Let's see, page 16. So we'll mark that down. Page 16, all right. So once again, the great Saba gives a lot of enlightenment and connects the ions that may not be necessarily seen up front. All right, so now let's get into the breakdown. All right, let's see. Give me just one moment here. Sure I got this correct. All right. All right. Let's make sure we're sharing here. Yes, we are. All right, so let's get into some great information here. All right, so this is the Neter Ptah. All right, so Ptah, this is in the Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary here. All right, Ptah, the architect of heaven and earth, the master craftsman in working metal, sculptor, designer, and the fashioner of the bodies of men. He was the blacksmith, the sculptor, and the mason of the gods. All right, so the architect of heaven and earth, and we're gonna get into some of his stories here. So when we look at Ptah, and then we go to another root word, the peter, it means to see, to look. All right, so that's definitely, since we know Ptah is the nature of vibration, you know, it's of course it's associated with the mouth, with the physical sound, but it's also dealing with the sight, to see. All right, so Ptah, to beg, to ask, to pray, a prayer, right? So this deals with the sound vibration and the light vibration. The pet, the Ptah, pet, the flood, the inundation, right? A title of the Nile god. So pet is deals with water, which is of course is frequency, is waves, and we recognize that, you know, water is what, you know, gives life, right? So this is all very important. All right, so we're gonna go to the Bremner Rhine Papyrus. This is in the British Museum, number EA 10188. All right, so here's an image of this papyrus here. All right, so we're going to get into some translations where we have the meta-netta here and the English translation. So published in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, volume 23, number 2, December 1937, page 166 to 165. The Bremer Rhine Papyrus 3 by R.O. Faulkner. And I'll also be using the Bibliotheca Aegyptiaca III, the Papyrus of Bremer Rhine Papyrus with the meta-netta on it. All right, so starting at page 60 here. So this is the book of knowing the creations of Re and the felling of Pep. Thus spake the Lord of all after he had come into being. So it starts off in the first sentence acknowledging that there is speaking here. Thus spake the Lord of all after he had come into being. So after he had come into being, then he spoke. It was I who came into being as Khepri. So we have first person writing here. All right. So thus spake the Lord of all. Right, Lord, the Neber, after he had come into being. All right. So we start here. All right. I came into being, which is the Keperah. I came into being as Keperi. It's the Keperah. It's the dung beetle. I came into being came into being, and all beings came into being after I came into being. Manifold were the beings which came forth from my mouth. Ere the sky had come into being, ere the earth had come into being, ere the ground and reptiles have been created in this place. I created some of them in noon as inert ones, when I could as yet find no place where I could stand. I considered in my own, I surveyed with my own sight, and I alone made every shape ere I had spat out shoe, ere I had expectorated tefnut, ere there had come into being. All right. Any other who could act with me, I planned with my own heart, and there came into being. All right. A multitude of forms of living creatures, namely the forms of children and the forms of their children. I indeed made excitation with my fist, I copulated with mine own hand. Right, so, and we all know, well, from this story, that before even physical matter, there was a being who's saying that I came into being and then I spoke. All right. And this is, so this is, you know, it sounds very familiar with a lot of the biblical stories because, of course, this is where they get it from. All right. All right. So this is definitely letting you know that sound vibration is what's creating the matter. All right, so our thoughts are vibration, and the consciousness prior to speaking, all right, thus spake the Lord of all after he had come into being. So before the speaking happened, thought happened. So, you know, thoughts are the vibrations, sound is vibrations, and these things create matter. All right, now watch your thoughts, which is always something that is excellent to incorporate, because, you know, especially once you start getting in and learning into subduing a lot of that internal fight that we all have. You know, the thoughts that you project, even the words that you say to yourself are very important. You know, we don't necessarily understand how important it is for us to speak in a way that the vibrations carry with you, you know, and this is why names are so important, right? And so it's definitely something that we should always take into consideration, how powerful our speech is, our tone, you know, the words that we speak, because these aren't words, these are tones and sounds, right? And what you speak is an exercise from the mind, from the thought. All right, so we always dig to the origins, so we have to understand where things come from, so that way we can utilize these in more conducive ways to grow and expand and help those around us. All right, so we're gonna go into ancient Egyptian readings by Wim van den Dungen, and here's this website where I got this image from. Well, the hieroglyphic translations that I have down here is from this website, right? So this is the Shabaka stone. This is in the British Museum, number EA 498, 710 BCE. So Saba Tehuti has, there's been a lot of talk on the Shabaka stone here lately. And it's awesome because a lot of times we see the image, but we don't recognize what it is, you know? So Saba Tehuti gave some excellent teachings and broke this down very well in his pod class. And if you haven't checked that out, be sure to definitely go check out his teachings on this. All right, so what I'll be reading from on this stone here is this section right here, which is the section 57 to 61. And here it is zoomed in. All right, so it starts right here, and then we'll go down each column from left to right. And I'll stop about right here where it has this symbol right here, which is the Ness, the tongue. So the last word that I'm stopping at is tongue, the Ness. All right, so there comes into being in the heart. There comes into being by the tongue, something as the image Atum, right? There comes into being the Keper M, the Hat, the heart, symbol for the heart there. Keper M, the Nesem, Etum, the image of Atum. Ptah is the very great who gives life to all the gods and their cause. Lo, through this heart and through this tongue. All right, so through the heart and through the tongue. Horus came into being in him. Tehuti came into being in him as Ptah. Right? Power came into being in the heart and by the tongue and in all limbs, in accordance with the teaching that it, the heart, is in all bodies, and it, the tongue, is in every mouth of all gods, all men, all flocks, all creeping things, and whatever lives, thinking whatever the heart wishes and commanding whatever the tongue wishes. That's very powerful right there. The Merut, whatever he wishes, of course, the tongue and the heart. All right. His Ptah's Ennead is before him as heart, authoritative utterance, teeth, semen, lips, and hands of Atum. This Ennead of Atum came into being through his semen and through his fingers. Surely this Ennead of Ptah is the teeth and the lips and the mouth, proclaiming the names of all things, from which Shu and Tefnut came forth as him. All right, proclaiming the name, the Rin. All right, that's very important. Which gave birth to the Ennead, the Mess, the sight of the eyes, the hearing of the ears, and the breathing of air through the nose. They transmit to the heart, which brings forth every decision. Right, so the Per, that's what the Book of the Dead, that's the real translation. The Per Imheru, the coming forth, that's the Per, the house, the mouth glyph, which is the letter R. All right. Indeed, the tongue thence repeats what is front of the heart. Indeed, the tongue thence repeats what is in front of the heart. Thus was given birth to all of the gods. His Ptah's Ennead was completed. All right. 10, completion. Every word of the God came into being through the thoughts, the heart, and the command by the tongue. Every word of the God came into being through the thoughts and through the heart and the command by the tongue. All right, so this lets us know how to become in command of what it is that you want to experience in the life that you want to live. All right, and through the thoughts and through the heart that commands the tongue. All right, so when we also look at the heart, which is the word Ebe, this is the heart, the Ebe, right? Ebe, heart, middle, the interior, sense, wisdom, understanding, intelligence, attention, intention. So this ain't, when we speaking about the heart and the Medu Neter and in Kemet, we're also incorporating intelligence and attention and intention. It isn't like when you think of the heart today, you think of love. But then when we look up these definitions, you start to recognize that these words do not mean what we've been taught that it means, or just even by people using these words and not knowing the real definition. You know, you start taking on a definition of a word when there are real definitions to words based on the vibration that it creates. All right, so this also deals with the heart, the intelligence, the intention, disposition, manner, will, a wish, desire, the mind, courage, lust, which that's also another one of those words that came about negatively within the Bible. And it shows you that on etymology. Look up lust on etymology and it'll show you where it became a negative thing. And it tells you directly that in the Bible, this is where the word lust, because lust and love definitively are very similar in definition, which is desire. All right, self. And here's an image of Ptah speaking. Right? I love visualizations because it allows you to visualize. And if you can visualize it, you can achieve it. You can attain it. If you can see it in your mind's eye, you can bring that forth into the physical reality. Right? So I love looking at imagery that helps to allow me to do that. All right? So I give that all to you. So diagnostic ultrasound. So this is, of course, ultrasound pictures. But how does this work? It's also called sonography, or diagnostic medical sonography, is an imaging method that uses sound waves to produce images of structures. So here, the only reason why we're able to see this child here in the womb is sound. So the sound is creating the image. And this is very, this is like how echolocation works, and which is absolutely amazing how sound vibration works, and understanding that there are living creatures and beings who use sound to see. You know, when you think outside of your perspective of just what has been encapsulated in what's called a human being, you're able to appreciate life and nature more around you. Because if any human had the abilities of these animals or these creatures, you would be considered a god. All right, to have echolocation, to be able to shoot a sound frequency 3 miles away to your baby whale, to let her know where you are. You know, that's just absolutely amazing and beautiful. All right, so let's go here. All right, so let's keep it going with the waves. All right, so in the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, I'm showing you a chart of some of the alphabets, and the letter N here is the wave. All right, so we see waves here, which this isn't just water waves, it's just waves, because sound has waves, light have waves, and it looks like this. So this is waves. All right, the letter R, the mouth glyph. The Greek alphabet, this letter here, the nu. So this is also what this is, the N, the nu, the or the nu, because you can put the actual vowel sound before or after the consonant. So or nu, the uppercase N, and this is the lowercase, the Greek. All right, so when we look here, the Egyptian hieroglyph, we start with the wave, Proto-Semitic, the Proto-Canaanite, the image, right? And then we see meme, water, the letter M. So meme, which is water, which is nu, which is the primordial waters. So this helped to create the letter M and the letter N. And it has the meaning behind it because the nu is the primordial waters. All right, so right, here's the waves here with the with the rabbit of fertility, right? The expansion, creation. To be, to exist, to become, being, existence, those who are. So this is This is one of the defining words of this wave here. A living man, a human being, the Unu. The Un-Nu. A living man, a human being. Men and women, human beings, people, strong men. And then we have the Nu, which is the mass of water, which existed in primeval times, the celestial waters, right? The celestial waters in which all things come from. Deified primeval water, which hence everything came. All right, so the origins of creation comes from Nu, waters, right? Which is why when we go here and the Hebrew, the meme is the water and creates the letter M. All right, because the Nu is that. The Nut, a cord, thread, rope, right? This also deals with the creation as if given birth, right? And expansion. Nut, which is also the sky goddess, right? The goddess that you see with the stars, all right, above the planet. All right, so that's Nut. Nu, to see. So we're back to seeing again, to look, to observe. So Nu also means to observe, right? To look, to see. This goes back to the origins of Ma'at, to examine, to get to the root, Tehuti, Kim, to dig, to get to the root, right? So these are very powerful vibrations associated with the letter N, which is why it's very important to understand where it comes from and the tones that we can use with this quote unquote letter to expand and help ourselves, right? So here we go here. Here's the visible light spectrum. We got gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet radiation, and here's the shape of the waves here. And so this is what we can't see with the physical eye, right? The infrared, microwaves, radio waves, we can't see these waves, right? So the visible light spectrum lives right here. So we see all this light around us that we cannot physically see with our physical eyes, right? But that doesn't mean it's not there, because it is, right? So we have to always keep that in mind when it comes to consciousness and understanding, the waves that's going on around you and what creates this, right? So we can tap into this. What we know as light is more called electromagnetic radiation. We know from experiments that light acts as a wave. As such, it can be described as having a frequency and a wavelength. The wavelength of light is the distance between corresponding points in two adjacent light cycles, and the frequency of light is the number of cycles of light that pass a given point in 1 second. Wavelength is typically represented by the lowercase Greek letter lambda, while frequency is represented by the lowercase Greek letter nu. Wavelength has units of length, meters and centimeters, while frequency has units per seconds, right? So written as S to the first and called hertz. So here we have the Greek letter lambda, which is right one part of the N, which creates the wavelength. So this is what we use as the symbol for wavelength. And so when we are able to recognize that even our understanding of light, when we start to study this, it always gets connected to, Greeks, because they named it. All right, so we just need to recognize what these names are and where they got these things from to get to the origin source of the power, right? So lambda is this symbol here. It's the lambda symbol. The nu, this is this symbol here, which is frequency, right? Period. In seconds, measured in hertz. All right, so let's scroll down here. All right, so we have radio waves. Of course, these are the light spectrums that we can't see, the visible light, right? The wavelength in nanometers, right? So when we see this, the color red, we're seeing about 700 wavelength here. All right, so when we look at this, we have a red object which reflects red and absorbs other colors of white light. So So this is how we see our colors. All right. An object is seen as black if it absorbs all colors of white light. So we know darkness absorbs the light, right? As we know that this is the melanin, which allows the light to be absorbed far easier. All right. So a white object reflects all colors of white light equally, right? So the white is what reflects all the lights. So we have 7 different colors in our spectrum. All right. So this is why we see Sefek, which is 7, the S, the cobra here, the F, and the K, like a guttural, like a K sound, Sefek, which is the placenta, 7. But Sefek also means to relax, to set free. All right, so we're dealing with the 7, which comes from, of course, the Per-Em Heru and the serpents, representing the coiled spine awakening, right? But this can only happen in a relaxed and set free state. So this is ancient Nile Valley knowledge. All right, so here is from the Papyrus of Ani. All right, the Papyrus of Ani, page 153. Ani, may I rise, the Ka, may I rise, even I, in the Sechet chamber, like a hawk of gold, coming forth, from his egg. May I fly, may I alight like a hawk of cubits, 7 at his back, his 2 wings being of mother of emerald of the south. May I come forth from the Sektet boat. I'm not sure if Saba has, I'm sure he has taught this on the pod class, but he also teaches this in the Meta Netter class. And he showed us this where the cubit 7 at his back, right? The Pesht, the Peshtest, the backbone, right? This is also Pestet, the backbone of Osiris, of Osar. But Pesht also means to shine, to give light, to illuminate. So it's the illuminated back, right? The 7 cubits, like a golden hawk. All right, so here we're gonna go into the chapter of changing into a Benu, which is where Phoenix comes from, which is where the teaching of the Phoenix, understanding rising from the ash, right? Being reborn. So here is the translation, and here's the Meta Netter right here. So, saith Osiris, the scribe Ani, triumphant in peace, I came into being from unformed matter. I created myself in the image of the god Khepera, and I grew in the form of plants. I am hidden in the likeness of the tortoise. I am formed out of the atoms of all the gods. I am the yesterday of the 4 quarters of the world, and I am the 7 Uriah, which came into existence in the east, the mighty one who illumineth the nations by his body. Right? The 7, going back to the 7 colors, the 7 frequencies of the light spectrum, which came into existence, the Uriah, the serpent, the Arut, the great Uriah, the 7, right? The serpent, this is the word for serpent here. The 7 serpents, which came into existence in the east, the mighty one, which in Kemet, the east is the left. So, you know, of course we know here everything is backwards. The Aptet, the Ebe, the left, the mighty one who illumineth the nations by his body. He is God in the likeness of Set, and Tehuti dwelleth in the midst of them by judgment of the dweller in Sekhem and of the spirits of Anu. I sail among them, and I come. I am crowned. I am become a shining one, the shining one. I am mighty. I am becoming holy among the gods. I am the god Khonshu who driveth back all that opposeth him. All right, so we see east, the Abt, the Etit, all right, the flame, the heart, the Aset. All right, so here's the Papyrus of Ani as well, page 39. I may come to destroy you. I may come to you, destroy ye defects, all which belong to me. So destroy all the defects, according to that which ye route for, the beautified beings, the Ku, right? The seven beautified beings, the Ku. These who are among the followers of their Lord Sepa made in Ampu, their place on day, on Heru, that of come therefore there. All right, so we see the beautified beings, the Ku. So when we go to Ku, our Ku here, the Ku bird, the Kim bird, shine to be bright, fine, splendid, glorious, excellent, good, to be useful, to recite formulae. Right, the Ku, right? So we're dealing with the seven beautified beings, the Ku, which deals with light, to be bright. The Akut, the fiery light of the sun, the eye of Ra or Heru, a flame goddess, the fiery Uraeus on Pharaoh's crown, the name of a crown, the Ure on the royal crown. So serpents and light, consciousness, right? The seven beautified beings, the seven Ure, the mighty one who illuminates the nations per his body. Right? The beautified beings, Ku, the seven. The Meshta, Hapi, Tua Muetef, Kebesanuf, Ma'a Atef F, Keri Bek F, Heru Kinti Ma'a, placed then on Pu as protectors of the dead body of Osiris. So we have seven beautified beings here of light protecting the dead body of Asar. In ancient Kemet, when speaking about the number seven, it always seems to always connect back to light, consciousness, protection, and death, completion. All right, so the Ari, Kabu, here's some definitions of some words that and show you that deal with the number seven. And so this is the master of the scythe of the seven reapers of Osiris. So right, the Aten-7, the seven discs of the sun god. The Uhat, right? The scorpion, the seven scorpions of Isis. So we see that the seven is always connecting back to light, consciousness, protection, or death and completion. All right. So the fact that the visible light spectrum contains seven visible colors is no coincidence. In Kemet, we associated the number seven with light. This is also why the Greeks used seven to define the universal axioms and has made its significance in modern day science. All right. So let's go here. All right, dealing with the seven. So the Kabbalion, this is what we talked about earlier, the 9 axioms of Tehuti. So in the Kabbalion, it talks about these 7 principles. The all is mind, the universe is mental, the Kabbalion, the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as above, so as below, so above. The principle of vibration, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The principle of polarity, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites, like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but differently in the degree. Extremes meet, all truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. All right, so the principle of rhythm, everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing, manifest in everything, right? The measure of the swing to the right is the same measure of the swing to the left. To the left, rhythm compensates. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law, not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. All right, so here we see that this is also why the Greeks use 7 to define the universal axioms and has made its significance in the modern day science. All right, so this is from a book titled Biocentrism, page 159 to 160. This is the author is Dr. Robert Lanza, who is an MD. And if you have not done research on Robert Lanza, I would definitely recommend to do so. You know, he does a lot of work, and he's showing forth that a lot of things that are possible. that people are doing out there. All right, so Robert Lanza, he's done a lot in stem cell research, and he's the first in a lot of the what they call the positive reactions that they're getting from the work that they're doing. Right, and I'll say that. Biocentrism's take on the cosmos. There is no separate physical universe outside of life and consciousness. Nothing is real that is not perceived. There was never a time when an external dumb physical universe existed, or that life sprang randomly from it at a later date. Space and time exist only as constructs of the mind, as tools of perception. Experiments in which the observer influences the outcome are easily explainable by the interrelatedness of consciousness and the physical nature. Neither nature nor mind is unreal, both are correlative. No position is taken regarding God. Consider again the 7 principles we have established. So here we're back to the 7, right? The first principle: what we perceive as reality is a process that involves our consciousness, an external reality. If it existed, would, by definition, have to exist in space. But this is meaningless because space and time are not absolute realities, but rather tools of the human and animal mind. The second principle of biocentrism: our external and internal perceptions are inextricably intertwined. They are different sides of the same coin and cannot be divorced from one another. Number 3, the behavior of subatomic particles. Indeed, all particles and objects are inextricably linked to the presence of an observer. Without the presence of a conscious observer, they at best exist in an undermined state of probability waves. The fourth principle: without consciousness, matter dwells in an undermined state of probability. Any universe that could have preceded consciousness only existed in a probability state. So even as Ptah, before he spake, he had already came into being. So this is in alignment. The fifth principle of biocentrism: the structure of the universe is explainable only through biocentrism. The universe is fine-tuned for life, which makes perfect sense, as life creates the universe, not the other way around. The universe is simply the complete spatio-temporal logic of the self. All right. And of course, this is stuff that we understood and we taught on a normal basis in Kemet. And today, with this new age information here, they just don't give. A lot of them don't know, but that's why we're here, is to bring this forth and show you where and why we are even at the state to be able to say that we have this type of technology, and people think that we're so advanced, and it's just not the truth. So time does not have a real existence outside of animal sense perception. It is the process by which we perceive changes in the universe. The seventh: space, like time, is not an object or a thing. Space is another form of our animal understanding and does not have an independent reality. We carry space and time around with us like turtles with shells. Thus, there is no absolute self-existing matrix in which physical events occur independent of life. All right, so light absorption can be stored and used for energy. The more light you absorb, the more energy you can emit. This is how solar power works. So when you look at solar power panels, they're going to be black or they're going to be blue. All right. Arrangement of particles and matter phases. So when we look at solids, it's an illusion because it seems as if it's solid and it's not moving. But in our reality, it's made up of particles, right? The particle energy, and they're compressed. All right. So as a liquid, they're just not as compressed, so they're more malleable. And gas, of course, can also is even more malleable. All right. So what does particle waves, light, and consciousness have in common? Let's get back to this later. All right. So this right here is called the double slit experiment, and I'll be showing how this works and some pretty interesting things that occur with this. Right. So melanins in humans. In humans, melanin is found in skin, hair, the pigmented tissue underlying the iris, the medulla and the zona reticularis of the adrenal gland, the stria vascularis of the inner ear. So we see right there in the inner ear is necessary, which deals with sound. And in pigment, bearing neurons of certain deep brain nuclei, such as the locus coeruleus and the substantia nigra. Melanin is the primary determinant of human skin color. Dermal melanin is produced by melanocytes, which are found in the stratum basale of the epidermis. Although human beings generally possess a similar concentration of melanocytes in their skin, the melanocytes in some individuals and ethnic groups more frequently or less frequently express the melanin-produced genes, thereby conferring a greater or lesser concentration of skin melanin. Some individual animals and humans have very little or no melanin in their bodies, a condition known as albinism. All right. Because melanin is an aggregate or smaller component molecules, there are a number of different types of melanin, with different proportions and bonding patterns of these component molecules. Both pheomelanin and eumelanin are found in human skin and hair, but eumelanin is the most abundant melanin in humans, as well as the form most likely to be deficient in albinism. All right, so the eumelanin is the physical melanin that you see on the skin. The eumelanin, right? The polymers have long been thought to compromise numerous cross-linked 5 to 6 dihydroxindole and 5 to 6 dihydroxindole carboxylic acid polymers. Recent research into the electrical properties of the eumelanin, however, has indicated that it may consist of more basic oligomers adhering to one another by some other mechanism. Right? So thus the precise nature of eumelanin's molecular structure is once again the object of study. Eumelanin is found in hair and skin. All right, and colors hair gray, black, yellow, brown. In humans, it is more abundant in peoples with dark skin. There are two different types of eumelanin, which are distinguished from each other by their pattern of polymer bonds. The two types are black eumelanin and brown eumelanin. Black eumelanin is the darkest. Brown eumelanin is lighter than black eumelanin. Black eumelanin is in most commonly non-Europeans and aged Europeans, while brown eumelanin is in mostly young Europeans. All right, a small amount of black eumelanin in the absence of other pigments causes gray hair. A small amount of brown eumelanin in the absence of other pigments causes yellow, blonde hair. All right, so that's the eumelanin. All right, so the pheomelanin is also found in hair and skin, and is both in lighter skinned humans and darker skinned humans. But in general, women have more pheomelanin than men, and thus women's skin is generally redder than men's. Pheomelanin imparts a pink to red hue, and thus is found particularly large quantities in red hair. Pheomelanin is particularly concentrated in the lips, the nipples, the glands of the penis, and vagina. Pheomelanin also may become carcinogenic when exposed to the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Chemically, pheomelanin differs from eumelanin in that its oligomer structure incorporates the amino acids L-cysteine as well as DHI and DHICA units. All right, and here's the neuromelanin, which is a very important aspect, right? The dark pigment present in pigment bearing neurons of the 4 deep brain nuclei. The substantia nigra, in Latin, literally black substance. The nigra substantia, the black substance. The pars compacta part, the locus coeruleus, the blue spot. The dorsomotor nucleus of the vagus nerve, the cranial nerve X, and the median, the raphe nucleus of the pons. Both the substantia nigra and locus coeruleus can be easily identified grossly at the time of autopsy due to their dark pigmentation. In humans, these nuclei are not pigmented at the time of birth, but developed pigmentation during maturation to adulthood. Although the functional nature of neuromelanin is unknown in the brain, it may be a byproduct of the synthesis of monoamine neurotransmitters, for which the pigmented neurons are the only source. The loss of pigmented neurons from specific nuclei is seen in a variety of neurodegenerative diseases. In Parkinson's disease, there is massive loss of dopamine, introducing pigmented neurons in the substantia nigra, a common finding in advanced Alzheimer's disease, and almost complete loss of the neuropinephrine, producing pigmented neurons of the locus coeruleus. Neuromelanin has been detected in primates and in carnivores such as cats and dogs. Initially, the name neuromelanin was chosen because of its similarity in appearance to the cutaneous melanin. However, recent electron paramagnetic resonance, the EPR, and meta-analysis studies indicate that chemically neuromelanin is indeed a genuine melanin because it has a stable free radical structure and avidly chelates metals. The ability of neuromelanin to interact with several inorganic and organic compounds, including metal ions and lipids, complicates studies of the structure of this pigment. All right, so here's a deep understanding of the three main different types of melanin. All right, and how we can utilize this knowledge and information, because we understand that melanin is light manifested. All right, so when we understand more on a more expanded level of light and how it works, then we can also connect this and utilize the melanin to expand our connection with light. All right, so here is Thomas Young, and Thomas Young, of course, is known for those of us who study Kemet. We know that Thomas Young is one of the forefathers of deciphering the Rosetta Stone. All right, so prior, when I first heard of Thomas Young, it was from the Rosetta Stone, but this fellow here was much more than just someone who deciphered. Before he got to the deciphering of starting the process of deciphering the Rosetta Stone. All right, so born June 13, 1773, Milverton, Somerset, England. Died May 10th, 1829, London. An English physician and physicist who established the principle of interference of light and thus resurrected the century-old wave theory of light. He was also an Egyptologist who helped decipher the Rosetta Stone. All right, so this is the one who who created the double slit experiment to learn that light moves as waves, and it isn't just in particles as it was previously thought. And something that Einstein also taught was that it was light is particles. All right, so illustrations of Young's work on light. The figure 442 shows the banded light from the double slit experiment. So this is one of his illustrations showing how the light become waves and not particles. All right, so there we have that. Where now, before moving forward, I want to show a quick video of the double slit experiment. So if you all put a 9 in the chat if you all have heard of the double slit experiment or have seen anything on it or have studied it or know what it is. Put a 9 if you do. If you don't, put a 7. Put a 7 in the chat if you haven't heard of the double slit experiment.
And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's absolutely mind-blowing information there to recognize, right? So, yeah, that's the double slit experiment visualized, so we can see that just by observing light, a particle, an electron, it changes its form from a wave of possibility to a more defined direction. So that's very, very deep information right there. All right, and we're gonna continue on. Oh, hold on just a second. Need my music going. There we go. All right, so when we see the this is from the book The Biocentrism, of showing and explaining the double slit and what happened here. So far so good. But now let's destroy our ability to measure the which way paths of the of photons, but without interfering with them in any way. So this is when observing what the photon is doing, right? So we can do this by placing a polarizing window in the path of the other photon far away. This plate will stop the second detector from registering coincidences. It'll measure only some of the photons and effectively scramble up the double signals, because a coincidence counter is essentially here and delivering information about the completion of the twins' journeys. It has now been rendered thoroughly unreliable. The entire apparatus will now be useless, unable to let us learn which slit individual photons take when they travel along path S. But because we won't be able to compare them with their twins, because nothing registers unless the coincidence counter allows it to do so. And let's be clear, we left the QWPs in place for photon S. All we've done is to meddle with the P's photons path in a way that removes our ability to use the coincidence counter to gain which way knowledge. The setup to review delivers information to us, registers hits only when polarity is measured at detector S, and the coincidence counter tells us that either a matching or non-matching polarity has been simultaneously registered by the twin photon at director P. The result. So without the ability of consciousness, of being aware of this photon, it acts differently. It becomes a wave once you aren't applying consciousness to it. And so that's why it plays a huge part for us to watch our thoughts, because even when you may not realize it, you're creating the reality of what it is that you pay attention to. So this is one of the reasons why I always give adoration to those who pay attention, because without your attention, this never even existed. Melanin is literal liquid light, brought forth as physical. When one can harness this knowing and utilize this information, you can learn to turn your body into light, as the Nintiru taught many thousands of years ago. The observer effect is the phenomenon in which the act of observation alters the behavior of the particles being observed. This effect is due to the wave-like nature of matter, which means that particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously. When an observer measures a particular property of a particle, they are effectively collapsing the wave function of that particle, causing it to assume a definitive state. All right, so when an observer measures, they are effectively collapsing the wave of that particle, causing it to assume a definitive state. So this is why you should watch your thoughts and watch what you say. Consciousness affects reality, in which reality is created by sounds and light frequencies. The mind is your creator. You are literally made up of sound created by thought. This is one of the reasons why the word music comes from the word min, which means to think. Saba Tehuti taught this to us and brought this forth, that the word music comes from the word min, right? So we have consciousness here. Consciousness, knowing, privy to, knowing, aware, to be aware, right? So to be conscious, to be aware, thoroughly, from sire, to know, which created the word science. the sense of knowing or perceiving with oneself, sensibly inwardly aware. Sense of active and awake, endowed with active mental faculties. All right, so the sense of being active and awake and aware redefines the particles from waves into a more definitive state. So this is how the law of attraction works. All right, music, a pleasing succession of sounds or combinations of sounds, right? From musica, the art of music. Music pertaining to the muses, musically educated, the muse. Music to muse. Muse means to reflect, to ponder, to meditate. Absorbed in thought, right? Daughters of Zeus. This is who this is where you hear muse as far as when it's associated to the feminine and the woman. One of the 9 muses of classical mythology. Ultimately from the power root men, to think. So music means to think. Music being sound vibration, right? Being frequency. All right. So frequency has the ability to create and destroy, to heal and to make sick. We must first begin with our thoughts and reprogram our speech. The English language is full of negative spells to keep one hypnotized. Repetition is key here. Recognize, which is ma'ah, the patterns, and you will see what was once hidden. The ones who put this language together understood this because they studied Kemet thoroughly and the Medu Neter. The Neter Ra, who is the head of the Neter, is represented by the mouth glyph. This is also the letter R. Speech is spoken frequency, is tones, which comes from the mouth. This creates waves of light. Let's acknowledge the facts here. The letter N is written as waves. What is the tone frequency that you carry and that is given to you from your birth? What is this called? Your name. So this is what you carry with you. That's from whence was given to you when you were born. This tone that you call yourself and that others call you creates that frequency for you to exist in, right? And we understood this. The Rin, the mouth glyph, the water, or the waves, not just water waves, but waves. The mouth glyph and the waves, the Rin, your name, right? So it's literally the mouth glyph and the waves, the act of speaking. The more waves you begin to recognize, the more connections become available by probability. There are always patterns. These are things that we can utilize to see the matrix, to master it, to bring it back to the original matrix, the Mut, the mother, right? So frequency is in everything. You know, it's in everything and it's everywhere, and it creates the reality around us. All right, so here's the wavelength spectrum, the direction of sound waves, the refraction and the compression, right? The possibilities. All right. And so here we see, here's an image of some charts. And it looks exactly the same to me, right? Because it is. These are wave frequencies. These are waves that are being created, right? So yes, everything that is moving and has a consciousness creates a frequency like a heartbeat. So it becomes, you able to see patterns. Just like in life and existence around you, the more repetition, the more you become aware, and the more patterns that you create and that you start to see, right? So understanding light and waves and frequencies can also help you understand how to read charts like this to be able to gain more access to the matrix and play the same way that the ones who created this does. All right. So the body is electric. All right. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. All right. So I'll stop sharing. All right. So peace and light, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the presentation there. There's a lot of information to go back in and study. I hope you took your notes. And it's definitely some great information to begin to utilize, and we can take this knowledge of waves and of frequency very, very far, because it exists in everything around us, right? And it's such a beautiful way to understand your existence, how things work, right? So the more confidence you have, the more ability you have, right? And to be able to gain confidence, it comes with the knowing who you are, where you are, and much more. But with that being said, if you guys appreciated this information, put some bombs in the chat for me. Put some noise. Make some noise in the chat if you appreciate this information. Our Cash App and our PayPal, that information is also posted in the chat. So if you appreciate the information, show some love and show some support for us, for all the time and energy that we take to put these things together for you all, to take with you through the week until Friday comes in the pod class. All right, so peace of love to everyone. Ahati Maat. Definitely show your reciprocity. I'll post it up here and you'll be acknowledged. I'll add you to our newsletter, so you're definitely acknowledged, because we appreciate the appreciation. All right, so peace and love, Ahati Maat, and dua.
Peace and love, Ahati Maat. Can y'all brothers hear me?
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Peace, brother. That was a fire breakdown. Show some love to my brother SCRIIIBE. My brother SCRIIIBE always represents with the fire breakdown. Very in-depth, brother. Very, very in-depth. I wouldn't expect anything less from you. I really, really, really appreciate how you went into the science. To the science, my brother. Oh, man, it's super fire. I appreciate you. Appreciate all you brothers. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, man, that was a lot to digest, brother. I wasn't expecting that one to be that deep, brother. That was super, super fire. I love the science, though. I love the science. That's gonna take me at least another good week to digest. But that's the beautiful thing about that, about Saba's teachings and the work, right? Is that it forces you to go deep and to dig and to investigate and then to tie it all back together, brother. And I love that little video, the animated cartoon, that video, and how you showed the double slit experiment. That was genius, my brother. That was absolutely genius. Ahati, my brother, you want to speak?
Yeah, that was impressive. It was a lot. I felt like I was in a college auditorium, and the professors, when you look down in the spiral thing, the professors there, I thought that was them. That's good. I'm glad you're excited. I could tell you're very excited. Very excited. I could tell how I was in the beginning. You're very excited, and I'm glad that you're putting in your time and work to present, even when you're not reaping the rewards right now. But the interesting part is the reward is within you, and you know that. So you produce things that at your level, which is new, that no one else is doing here. At least online. I don't know who's out there in the physical world, but online, I haven't seen anybody put on the academic and the research effort at your level. I just don't see it. And it's a damn shame, because people should be dropping money. They should be dropping what is needed right now. And I hope you get that recognition, even within your own Cash App, something for you, because it will definitely motivate you to keep advancing and going to heights that we can't even see right now. But I would love. I was thinking when you were doing your presentation, I was thinking like the people over on Saw Netter and stuff that get highlighted and get popularity for trash. And I was like, the teachings that we get from Saba, we're like, we're on planet Nibiru. We're not getting an eighth of the focus from others' attentions, from our people's attentions, and even people that are just they're not even coherent are getting more attention than you. But that's the beauty of this, because when the attention does come, it will be a wide open faucet of love, admiration, respect, because your reputation precedes you, just like the scribes taught us. So that's the hope. Yeah, you, my brother, are something special, and you, even behind the scenes, you do so much for me, and it's very, and you do stuff for me. I don't even have to tell you what to do. That's what I love. You just do it. And it was something I was thinking about, and I was gonna tell you about it, but you just do it. So the synchronicity is operating on a whole nother level that people can't even recognize at the moment. And we know what it is. We know it's Unin. We know it's the Un. We know it's the literal universe building this effort within you. And keep it up. Very happy. I'm very proud. This is what I want. This is what I expected after nudging Saba for months and months and months. I knew there would come a time. But listen, I'm going to tell you this. I did not expect it to come in your form in youth. Because a lot of people that I talk to are like me and Arcad's era.
Scribe is a genius,
but
brother.
We have something great, because this is the youth, man, and he is gung ho. He's on fire. That coup is burning.
That's a fact.
And I'm very pleased, my man, and I look forward to further presentations and creations that you do. And I hope everybody that's in the chat, that's on the fence about joining us, is taking note, because this is what you're going to get. The brother off air is also like this. So that's why he's the Saab. That's why he's the number 2. And I have full faith in you. Like I've said before, that if anything happens to me, you'll be able to take this movement into the future. And I'm very, and for me, something that I've beloved since I was a child, and to be able to say that I trust you and give it to you is a lot to me. And I'm just happy, brother. So that's all I have.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate that, brothers. You know that, I let you all know that y'all inspire me, and that's the great thing about the brotherhood, and what we're doing and what we're building here is, as you said, the things that are happening are not even really able to be seen on the level that they're happening at, and it's such a beautiful thing, because I recognize that the way that light works, it happens in a way before it manifests here in the physical. And as long as we have that knowing, and we see and we understand the things that are happening around us and within us, it's such a beautiful thing. And I hope, like you said, that it inspires people to step up and come join in with us and help us expand this. Because we are definitely, each of us here on the panel are leading with our left. We're understanding that the importance of the heart, as the teaching showed, that it's not just about what the definition of what love is today. It's much deeper and much wider than that, and it's much more powerful than that. And I let you brothers know all the time. I love you brothers, and you all inspire me to do what I do. And that's what a movement is about. So hopefully there's inspiration left in the chat, and I posted the link, so you can all hit the link and come join us in. Join the panel. Let us know what you thought of the presentation. Let us know what you feel about Ma'at. Let us know if you have any questions that you would like to ask. We're definitely open to all of it. All right, so the link is posted. It's pinned to the top of the chat. I would like the 2 active members, of course, to come in and join us. We love to see you all and hear you all's voice. Mr. Rebel Minded, Sadeeki, and of course the Miss Angie Martinez. Would love for you to introduce yourself to the people here on the panel. So yeah, the link is posted in the chat, and also for anybody else who would just like to come on and say some things. It'd be excellent to see some faces and hear some voices, as we build this community. And because that's one thing that we're going to, that we are implementing, is physical face-to-face meetings and growing and building here online. But it's not to stay here online. It's to eventually come in person and be able to do this in person. All right. And the only way that we can do that is if you all want that as well. Those who are here to learn and expand. So the floor is definitely open for you all.
Scribe, Tom, how long did it take you to come out here and visit us?
It took, from the time that I seen Tehuti.
Yes.
It took maybe 6 or 7 months. It was less than a year before I decided, okay, yeah, I'm coming out there. And it's just, took less than a year.
But you had to take a risk though, right? Because you didn't know we could have been something totally different than what you saw here.
Right. That's definitely true. And I'm ain't in the land that I know. I ain't from the west side. I'm from the south. So it's a different world. Definitely took a risk, but yeah. So it's,
you didn't want to get hemmed up on Crenshaw or something.
Hey, I mean, it's not even that. It's just it's a lot faster. Yeah. It's a lot faster out there. So yeah, definitely took a risk. But I was confident because I discern, and I'm just as the teaching today about frequency is I really love frequency. I mean, I love sound. It's I'm a spoken word artist, and the spoken word goes deep into frequency. So I'm really connected to that, and I could definitely feel the Ma'at within you and of course Saba. So it's a risk, of course, but in my mind it wasn't necessarily a risk because I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And I know whenever I get that push from my ancestors, from my guides who assist me outside of just the physical, when I get that push, I go, and I always like to look at myself from a higher outside source, from just my physical and what I be proud of, who I am and what I'm doing. So these are some of the things that I think about, that keeps me and allows me to step outside of the comfort zone for the betterment of, because I want to be able to leave something for the children to learn from, you know, to be able to have the information, because the information just isn't being given, you know, of what's really going on here. So, you know, and then on top of it being nothing but love here, like, yeah, that's it wasn't really, it's a risk, of course, but not really, you know, because it's not, this ain't, you know, like, you know, certain channels and certain things that go on and you see it's just chaotic, you know. Now the frequency is love, and I felt that, and you know, so of course I want to build with brothers and sisters with that, you know. I want to build on that, you know, so definitely.
There is no price on knowledge. Thank you. What does that mean, not Beefy Productions? There is no price on knowledge. Thank you. Can you clarify that? Matter of fact, you can join the chat. You can come on.
The link is in the chat.
The link is in the chat.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scribe. It was frequency, and that using the head to learn real from those people.
Brother, your microphone is you sound a little muffled.
Muffled? What about now?
Yeah. Can you hear him, Ahati?
Yes. Sounds like he's in a tube or.
Come out the tubes, brother.
That's for the London people. He's in the tube. Yeah, I'm curious. Come on up to the plate. Not Beefy Productions. What does "there is no price on knowledge" mean? And where is Sadeeki? If you're in the room, come on, brother. Angie Martinez, I see you. Come on. Angie Martinez.
Yes.
From that would have been cool. If that was the one from Hot 97, I've been like, what?
Hit the airwaves. Send my heart through the tones. Oh, say again, Arcade.
Y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still in the tube or what? How does it sound?
You gotta come to the mic, brother.
Angie Martinez, it says that you have a problem connecting. You have a bad connection. Okay, all right. Sadeeki, I see you in the back. Says device not connected.
Oh, I see what you're saying now, not Beefy. So that knowledge is priceless. You could be a billionaire. But yeah, of course. But without understanding, yeah. Donald Trump is a great example. But that's how the Matrix functions. Is everything is reversed and flipped on its head. So the people that have the knowledge are usually the people that don't have the financial, I don't know if it's means, the financial structure that they need to survive. Matrix is built on theft. That's how it works.
Absolutely. You know, and that's, the knowledge is definitely priceless. So hopefully I'll see a contribution from you in the Cash App, my brother. Definitely be appreciated.
Did we get that is a donation worth teaching. Did we get at least $1? Did we get $1 yet?
Outside of the great brother Nito Campbell,
we can't count him. Don't count him.
That brother right there is carrying us. He needs some weight. He needs some help, y'all.
Oh, Arcad. Arcad, is your mic working?
Yeah, can y'all hear me? How's my mic?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Hey, what do you have to sacrifice to be here on Sundays?
A lot. It's a lot. Work 12 hours, 12-hour shifts, man, and it's matrix trying to, you know, like somebody popped on. But, the truth is important. And like I say, people do what's important. And this truth is beautiful. And that's all I want to say.
Damn, brother, you cutting out.
Your mic's choppy, brother.
Flipped upside down and everything. Can y'all hear me? I'm having
Barely.
difficulty. Hold on.
Unplug the headphone. Can you do it without the headphones?
Hey, Angie Martinez, you have your camera on so we can see you?
Yeah, we gotta have the cameras on here. Cameras are on here.
There we go.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's on.
Turn your
There she is, Angie Martinez. Please.
you have YouTube in the background.
And she froze.
Uh-oh.
Maybe she does really have a bad connection. Angie Martinez
again.
is one of our new members. There he is, Big Vapes. Peace, brother.
What up, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What's up to the panel? What's up to the comments? I'm a little congested, so I apologize in advance. I wanted to go on screen while folks are figuring out their technical difficulties, you know what I'm saying, just to respond to the presentation.
So, my brother, appreciate you for coming up on the panel.
No doubt.
How you doing, brother?
SCRIIIBE. I'm doing all right. A weird 2023 so far, but I have positive energy, so it's all good. But you definitely went in. As far as the presentation, I'm definitely a big fan of Pata, so I was definitely attentive. And the light are related, basically the same thing. I was paying attention to that. Definitely felt like I was in a college auditorium, just like Ahati said, that sort of nation. I'm definitely gonna save this video so I can watch it again, based on the information. And the double slit experiment video was fire. So, kudos to you. Hotep, namaste to everyone.
Hotep, brother, appreciate it. Thank you.
Brother. Yeah. Peace and love.
Okay, finally.
Okay, then. Oh, okay.
All right, peace. Hotep, Angie, Hotep, Sadeeki.
Hotep, oh, peace, brothers. Peace and love, y'all. Hey, SCRIIIBE, definitely enjoyed that presentation. Got my notepad right here. I got some research.
Oh, I got mine right here too.
What's dope about the frequency thing you did, right? I was watching the video, and it was in the temple in India, I believe it was. And the temple had these pillars. And the pillars, when you hit the pillars, right, they made this like musical type of sound. Like, sound like a doorbell or something, but it was like concrete. And so each one of the pillars, they made a different type of sound. And so when you looked up on the ceiling of the temple, you seen characters up there, and you also see these different geometrical shapes. And so they was trying to figure out, well, what was that up there? And so now, how they say, as above, so below. So basically what was on the ceiling was a depiction of what was going on down below. Now, the part that really stood out to me was when they was hitting making the sound, the sound, the frequency was giving off a shape. You ever seen when you ever seen them they do them experiments? What happened, Mama?
No, we still hear you. You're good.
Good, brother. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You know, man, what the fuck was I saying? Oh, you know how you ever seen they do them experiments where people use say certain words or maybe a profane word, and they had the water and it makes some type of shape or something.
Yes.
Okay, now up there, these pillars, these geometrical shape was the frequency. It was the shape of the frequency that the sound was giving off. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so what I wanted to understand was like, we like, I haven't seen any evidence of like what type of technology or how they reached their conclusions on how they even, developed the idea that this sound created this type of shape. It's kind of like when you look at those star forts, you know what I'm saying? From an aerial point of view, all them star forts is like in a certain geometrical shape, and it's based on frequency. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, matter of fact, let me go. I was looking in this book right here, right? And they were showing how.
What's the title of the book, brother?
Oh, it's called The One World Tartarians, the greatest civilization ever to be erased from history.
Hold it up again first so we can see. Okay.
It's kind of like y'all echoing, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it's like delayed.
We can hear
you good, brother.
Yeah, I'm talking about like when y'all hear, it's like delayed. Maybe there's something going on.
Do you have YouTube? Do you have YouTube playing in the back?
Huh? No, it's like I hear y'all say like afterwards. It come afterwards. It ain't like we talking at the same time.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see. Angie, would you like to come off the mic? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Right, peace. Let's see.
Can you hear me just fine?
Yes, we can hear you. Sound good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
That's good. What you think of the lesson?
I thought it was very, very insightful because, see, I've been under the impression that everything was considered magic before they discovered what it was, in some sense. But if you think about it, magic is rooted in energy, and so a lot of that connects for me because, see, a lot of my family has practiced Santeria and brujeria and witchcraft, and they also practice a lot of African spirituality as well. And so being that they used to throw me in church on top of that, I got confused. I'm like, wait, what are y'all doing? Right. And so they never really taught me any of it. But I know because, my family was able to do it. My moms, my aunts, and all of them, I know because of the fact that they're capable, I know I'm capable as well. I just have to learn about it first. And so seeing about the light vibrations and the sound vibrations and stuff like that is putting a lot of it into sense for me, because I was sitting there trying to figure out okay, well, when people use spells and stuff like that, how do those spells come true? But then again, it's the sound waves, it's the thought, it's the intention within their heart. And so all of that really resonated with me.
That's awesome, my sister. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Yeah, most definitely. Great brother Ahati Maat, would you like to speak to the sister Angie?
Yeah, I want to say peace to her and the good brother Sadeeki, the good warrior. But sister, this is the first time I'm meeting you, so welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
And you are, just think of it as you are, what's the word? A catalyst for other sisters to come on. And you're absolutely right. Everything starts with your vibration first. It doesn't start with mine. And what you're resonating literally is what's going to be attracted back to you through not only your frequency, but the earth is running on its own magnetic frequency as well. And Saba's taught on this. It's Tehuti's number, which is 72, which equals the number 9, which goes back to the Paut, which means ancestors. And I can keep going on, but I'm not going to do that. The point is that I learned through a lot of bumps in the head, a lot of knuckles in the face, that it's me that has to remain under control. And that once we begin to do that, it doesn't matter what the Tamahu is doing out here. It doesn't matter what mom or anybody that aggravates us at the moment. It doesn't matter what they're doing. It only matters what I'm doing. And what you did by joining us is you've taken a major step. And I don't know anything about you, but we're here because we're tired of being lied to. And we're tired of just wasting time. So you've taken a major step in the opposite direction of that and joining a group of people that, even though we're new to each other, we do truly care for one another. And that's why I want the active people to come up on here, because there's people that aren't active, and not to put the non-active down, but there's people that right now feel like they don't want to be active, but you two immediately signed up to be active. So that means you're yearning for this truth in Ma'at, and you really want to do something. You want to change something. And like I told Arcad, who has children, it's really for your beautiful daughters, because they're the ones that carry us first. So whatever frequency they're resonating on is really, really important, because it's going to really jumpstart how the child comes out and enters into this matrix, and if they're going to survive or not. And I wish my mother knew that, but she didn't. So here I am. But your children have a chance, and that's basically what the Tamahus have in the reverse. They have the head start, but we're able to reverse that so that we have a head start now. And the scribe, he hasn't really told me what exactly you're doing, which is fine. But he says that you're going to be doing stuff for us. So I just want to congratulate you. I want to thank you. And if at any time you have a problem, we're not afraid of criticism. We're not afraid to get our feelings hurt. You just bring it up, what the issue is, so we can resolve it quickly and move forward. And okay, what are you gonna say?
I wanted to introduce you guys to my daughter.
Go. Who's this?
And this is my baby Lindsay.
Peace.
I'm trying to ease her into some of this knowledge, because as you guys know, little babies, their brains is like sponges and they soak up all the good knowledge. Say hi, Lynn. Keep away. Stay away.
Peace.
Bye.
She loves to learn. She's most of her goals are to be a fashion designer. So I'm trying to teach her how to sew.
Yeah,
so she can start making some good designs. Hopefully she could be on the team and start making some hoodies and some t-shirts for us.
That's right.
Some beanies and scarves and everything.
There you go.
Yep. She's gonna be the Tehuti fashion designer.
Good. I love that.
Okay,
what's her? So is she listening to the class, or you're teaching her, or what's?
Most of the time I'm listening to it and she's in the background playing on her laptop, so she hears it. I put it on the TV and stuff. I place it on the TV so that way it's on the big screen, so everybody because I'm in a studio apartment, so anybody who's in here, once I put it on the TV, everybody's listening.
Great. Let that frequency flow. That's right.
Yep. Because my husband, he listens from time to time as well.
What's your husband? Does he believe anything or?
He does. He's still kind of somewhat starting his journey. He knows a lot of knowledge, but he's more of like, he likes to work with his hands a lot. So like he's one of those, I gotta work physically. He doesn't like to read books too much or anything like that. I do play a lot of the videos while he's around, so I know he's picking up on some of it.
Yeah, I like those people because if I need my car fixed or if we got to build shelter, you can't just sit there reading. You can't sit there reading a book and writing in your notes while the rain and the storm's coming. I need the guy that doesn't know anything with his hands, but he does know something.
Right.
And that's a great point. I'm going to clarify that again. Kemet was a nation. Without the people with hands, the people that love to read and study, they don't exist.
Exactly.
So we need everybody. So that's great. At least hopefully he's supporting you, right? He's
of course,
supporting
definitely.
you with the knowledge.
Yes, definitely.
That's great.
That's definitely, because that became an issue not too long ago for us. And I had to let him know, look, this is something that I want to pursue. It's something that's important to me. And then I noticed that him and his brother have like little secret meetings where they talk about Kemet, they talk about the Matrix, they talk about conspiracy theories, and they have their own little group amongst themselves. So I let them be. His brother's feeding him the information I need for him to know.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, peace, brother Sadeeki. Is that young Sadeeki right there?
Young Sadeeki, I like that.
Oh, you're muted, brother.
I wanted them to hear what brother Ahati, what you were just talking about, how you wish your mother, your parents, like they knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, my son, like he listens, but he kind of like me, how I was when I was young. You know what I'm saying?
Is that him? Is he hiding? Is he hiding behind the camera? Come here, son. It's all right. Ah, there he is.
There he is. There's the young lion.
Young lion.
Yeah. See, and what you just said, it resonated within me so much, right? Because I don't be wanting him to feel like he don't have the option to decide, his own destiny or choose his own path. But at the same time, like when I was coming up, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, my grandma never really forced us to, go to church. Besides on like Easter days, you know how, Granny want to show her grandkids off and dressed up and things of that nature. But, I just want to show them that when I be talking about certain things, it's not to just try to drill you or to try to encourage you to, listen to me and make it seem like everything I say is right and exact, and like you don't have your own mind, like you don't have your own way of thinking. But I have been on this world longer than you have. I have experienced certain things that you haven't. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain things that I can enlighten you on, without you having to actually stick your hand in the fire and get burned to know that it's hot. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like when they go to school. You know what I'm saying? The teachers or whatever, they just automatically, they'll fall in line with the teacher. He's a good student, don't cause no problems at school. And that's the battle we have. And I wanted to hear from you how you was just breaking it down, like how, your parents not having that knowledge. And it took for you to go through your own journey throughout life to reach this point. It sounds better coming from other people. Parents is just like, oh, I'm being the dad, or you coming down hard on me.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not gonna work if he's anything like I was. I'm gonna be honest.
The man talking.
It's not. What's your son's name?
His name Israel.
Peace, Israel. I was extremely hard-headed. I was angry, but
hi to him.
Hi.
But my situation was complicated because I was adopted. I was adopted by Tomahoos in New Jersey. Racist Tomahoos. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. So once I found like Wu-Tang, the Mobb Deep, the fatigues went on. And I got pissed because as I got older, I wasn't looking like them anymore. And they weren't teaching me anything about me. It was all about the European way. So my situation is very complicated. That's why I come off so, I'm just using this term, this isn't me, but militant and angry and because for our people, that's what we need at this point. We need a good foot in the ass. We need to start going. Stop being scared. We're going to have to sacrifice bodies and let's go. Every other nation is doing it. So I wouldn't be able to do that if I was for me, I'm not saying anybody else. I wouldn't be able to do that if I was soaking in and obeying my father and mother and I couldn't do that. Maybe there's people that can do that. I can do that. I had to literally get into fights and get into all this stuff. So the only thing I can say is listen to them. No matter their age. I don't look at babies as babies, really. I just use that term because we all know it. But their minds, a mind that created the consciousness that created you and I and keeps on creating us now, it's just in a physical form in a smaller shape. So I never think like I'm better or I know more than him. He's just in a different shape. So that way I don't have to force anything on him and I don't have to feel upset if he doesn't take my knowledge because I understand that he's his own mind. He's got his own life. All I can do is be an example. If you notice, when I'm on here, I always let the brothers speak before me. I do that on purpose because for one, I want to hear what they have to say. And two, I was taught and know that the less that you say and the more that you show, that will attract the people towards you. And I want to keep it that way. So, he's here now. He wasn't here last week. You keep coming on. You stay consistent. He might be sitting next to you coloring. Tehuti Most used to bring his young netter on. And, he used to be on his lap. But the reason why I started this too is for the children. So the children can feel my energy. I love children, man. I don't have my son with me here. That's a whole nother story. That's when I was in the Matrix. And the mother's still angry at me, but something I would always play with the kids at family gatherings and stay away from the adults because they criticize, they're angry. There's something, the children can feel my resonance, they can feel me. And that has a big part of it. So as long as you keep your frequency just keep doing what you're doing. That's all I can say. There's no magic thing to tell your children other than for me, is to listen to them. And I wish I knew this when I was around my son because and not let my relationship with his mother cloud my vision. But again, I didn't have these teachings. I wasn't even close to this. What I know now though is that when he knocks on the door, maybe in a couple of years when he's 20 or whatever, that door's open. And if he wants to go in on his mother or go in on anything negative, that door is shut. I'll be straight up with him. Hey, brother, I'm not into that anymore. From this point on, you see how I live. You see the nets are all around. Let's speak. Let's talk on that. That's it. And I do that with people out there, too. I've had brothers in my face like this. Not recently, like a year ago. Oh, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. No, I'll kill you. Man, this close. And I just tell them I'm in control. Because that's all that matters. What you want, brother, it will come true as long as you're consistent with that vision. What I want right now to the average layperson is an impossibility. And the scribe knows, and Arcad knows my vision. People be like, what? No way. We can't agree on nothing. And then you say we're going to be together in Matt? No. But if the netter can do what they can do, and I'm following the netter, I believe we can do what they can do too. So, again, if I saw my son today, I would hug him, I would kiss him, I would cry with him, and then I would say, let's start from this point forward and get knowledge together. And if he doesn't want to get knowledge with me, I just let him do what he's doing as long as he doesn't hurt me. That's it. Son or no son. Son or no son, person or no person, you never let anybody hurt you, mentally or physically. Now, the other person might not be trying to hurt you intentionally. That's just how their personality is. And you have to respect that. But one thing I knew about Saba was when I would be with him and like chaotic people will come up to us, because as you get more knowledge, the chaos is going to intensify, because that's the spiritual battle that's going on in the background. Isfet Imad, Isfet Imad, Isfet Imad. So notice, the more knowledge you get, more Isfet's going to come. But remember, we remain in control. That's why today I was able to handle somebody this close. Where in the past, being from jail and prison, you're over here. Oh, yeah, you're already squabbling or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm so secure, not only in my cot, in my physical body, but I'm so secure in what's going to happen after I leave my body. I no longer have that fear. So I don't know, brother. I just hope that helped, and I hope that you, when they stand by my side, defending these brothers and sisters and their children, because I don't want to live in I don't want to live in Candyland anymore. We have beards, we have goatees, but they bred us to be children. I don't want to be a child. I know how to rule myself. I know how to lead other people. I know how to govern a nation. I don't need George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Joe Biden. I don't need all that. Especially when you don't have my best interests at heart. I know what our people need because I've been there. I've been in the streets in the cold of Boston. I've been in fights where I've gotten knocked out and gotten back up and fought again. I've been where I had no knowledge and met a great leader like Saba Tehuti, and he accepted me for who I was. I've been with the racist Tom Hoos. I still deal with racist Tom Hoos. I've been through all this. I walk through the Tomahawk's rich nations where you don't see blacks, Mexicans, you don't see none of us in sight. And I walk through their neighborhoods with my head held high, looking them in the eye, daring them to have an intellectual conversation with me so I can break them down. So to me, this is not a game. It's a reality, and all you have to do is have that same vision with me, and that's going to entitle trust. And as long as you can do that, your son will grow up to be a fine warrior too, if that's what he chooses. And I'm going to leave you with this. There's no way Saba would have me, the SCRIIIBE, Arcat on here if he couldn't trust us.
Indeed. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. See, the thing why I asked you to speak on it, right, is because, like, we got this thing, like, where our children go to school and they accept what Amos Wilson, he called it authoritative power or legitimate power. You know what I'm saying? Where we just automatically accept somebody's title or position of authority just because they have this title. And so people think, of course you go to school, you want to do what's right. You don't want to act up and things of that nature. But here it is, they doing something way more detrimental. And that's they molding and shaping our children's minds. So while they in school 8 hours a day, you got to think 8 hours times 5 times a week that they going to school. You know what I'm saying? That's 40 hours a week that they are in this classroom. And their minds is being molded. And you going to school all the way until you're 18 years old. So this is how much time that they spend getting taught, basically trained how to function properly in the matrix world. We want you to be an obedient slave. We don't want you to contest anything. We want you to accept things as they are. And like you said, no matter the relationship with the individual, regardless if it's son, mom, regardless, you don't let nobody hurt you. Nobody. And that goes back to what it's saying, like, how can I make sure somebody else is good if I'm not good myself? Like, I gotta work on me. And that's the foundation. That's where it starts at. And that's why I can't stress enough how thankful I am for running across the Saba, seeing him in his debate and actually coming across the channel and seeing how it was a movement brewing. See, a lot of people don't be in tune with the real. It seems like, you know what I'm saying, that since the numbers is low and people like Sadeeki, like, people always pay attention to clown shows. We know about the circus and bread when when the Roman emperor, whenever the people felt like they wanted to revolt or something, okay, give them a show, give them some entertainment, give them some distraction, throw them off. See, people like to be entertained. But when it comes to actually changing, going within, taking and looking at the reflection of that self, it's hard to do that. It's hard to sit in a hot seat and where you taking the constructive criticism. But it's easy to sit up there and point the finger at somebody else and talk about their imperfections and talk about their flaws. See, I done came to grips with the fact that I done done things that I wasn't supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I done came to grips with that. I'm not ashamed to say I've been an addict. You know what I'm saying? Strong out on heroin. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed of that. I come to grips with that, and I seen that where it was leading me to. You know what I'm saying? Being around my young and them seeing me like that, nodding out and all that, and how I was destroying the family. And then I seen y'all. You know what I'm saying? I seen the side. I seen how this beautiful thing was, right? I'm like, man, I gotta join on. And immediately I said I want to be an active member. I've never been on YouTube. I don't know how this go. You know what I'm saying? I don't specialize in none of this. I'm just going straight out there on the limb. Like, that just goes to show you how much I trust in this. You know, I'm just saying, I've been through a lot of the similar stories. You know what I'm saying? The rough life. You know, mama not being there because she was incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? My dad never being around, even though he was around. You know, he never taught me nothing. He never was involved in my life. You know what I'm saying? Just now, my birthday just passed in September. This was the first time in 37 years that man ever told me happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 37 years later, now you want to be a dad? Now you want to talk about you want to be involved in your grandchildren's life? You ain't never even been involved in your own children's life. So that was, like I say, man, I appreciate you brothers, because like it's people like y'all is what gives me the strength to keep going, to know that there is hope for a better tomorrow, right? And I wanted to show my son that your dad ain't crazy. I'm not the only one to think like this. You know what I'm saying? There's other people that, you know what I'm saying, was in the matrix and they recognize that, hold up, something ain't right with this. This ain't adding up. You know what I'm saying? You keep trying to tell me 1 + 1 is 3. Well, how you work that out? That's one thing about mathematics. You know, mathematics is going to tell you, you know, where something's wrong at. If you didn't do the formula and the way you were supposed to, it's going to show you. You know, mathematics is brutally honest.
Absolutely.
And interesting enough, mathematics is what the comedians live by. It's called the Unin. I just spoke about Osiris.
The Unin?
It's all about math. And you're absolutely right. When I was young, I had a lot of questions, and they tell me go ask the preacher, the pastor, the experts. And I'm like, why? You're right in front of me. Why don't you just tell me you don't know, and then I should go to the library and look it up? But that didn't happen. But you have a chance to do that, my brother. You have a chance to give great things to your son, and that is, I don't see anything else in this life more precious than giving somebody a way out of this physical life and into a beautiful journey that comes next, which is now being called the netherworld, but it's really the Netzerkert and the Tuat. That is the key. That's why we are a warrior, intelligent, strong people, because everybody else, oh, I don't know what happens after you die. Oh, nothing happens. Oh, we're in many mansions with Jesus. Oh, the Buddha comes and resurrects us, and this and that. Where we can just, scribe comes on the panel and pam, pam, boom, ping, pong, boom, 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 and there's the evidence, and you can dispute it or not. But this is the original people that brought these other concepts and pieces of knowledge to you, and that has a lot. That gives somebody a lot of courage. And it definitely helps me get through the day, checking the malice in my own heart. That's one of the scribe's teachings. And it makes you not have to prove anything anymore. So You remember like walking down the street sizing people up? I can't believe I used to do that. I used to walk down the street, complete strangers, sizing them up. That's all fear. And then you tell the brothers and sisters, hey, that's fear. Oh, I'm not fearful. And right there, that's a lie. So the matrix is constantly building upon lies, upon lies, upon lies. When all you have to do is, somebody might laugh at me or call me whatever. And but that stops because again, it's inside of your mind. It's a fascinating thing. This lesson that Scribe taught on is one of my favorite lessons because it's the key to getting the life you want. It literally is. Everything is literally happening right now inside of your mind, Angie, inside of your mind, Sadeeki. It's happening inside your mind. So if I start laughing at you, the only way it can really affect you is if you allow it. That's it. And it sounds like such a simple concept, but the key is that you have to realize that all this is just illusion anyways, and there's nothing to hold on. So for me, if somebody doesn't invite me over their house or doesn't invite me to a holiday party or whatever these things are, it doesn't affect me because all I have to worry about is how I react to it. And if I'm good with me, then I could be in a pit of fire right now. Yes, it's going to be very painful. I'm going to be crying and screaming probably, but I know that when I leave the body, everything is going to be okay afterwards. And man, I love the particle wave duality information because it goes so much deeper than that too. And Scribe didn't get into the Kemenu yet. I literally live by the Kemenu. These are the voices in your head. And you listen to that voice, and a lot of times it tells you stuff that you don't want to do, but you got to do it. And when you go against it, you suffer. Or you might not suffer immediately, but eventually you'll suffer. And I literally live by that voice today because I know it goes back to Kemet, and it's the 8 elemental gods and goddesses that dealt with Tehuti, and I trust in them. And when you get there, and you sister and you brother will, man, you are gonna. I don't know what you want. I don't know what your desire is. It's okay to desire. It's okay to lust. I don't know what you really want, but you will get it. And it just takes positivity, patience, and persistence. I'm doing stuff now that's taking years to what they call manifest, quote unquote. It takes a lot of patience, but there was a time when I didn't have patience, and I'd run out and I'd bump my head. And then a year is taken away from my life. I'd run out, boom, I bump my head. And then 2 years is taken away from my life. And the Tamahu counts on that because he makes sure that we're bred in a system that's based on Instagram gratification. So as long as you stay in that, they can make a lot of money off us. And where our system is, we want you to get out of that. So it's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you, brother. It's not easy. It's going to take a lot of work, but eventually you will become the netter that you want to be. Go ahead, Scribe.
Yeah, beautiful words, Ahati. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
You remind me of, bro. You know how you got some older guy. I ain't calling you no old head, right? I'm just using this as an analogy, right? You got them certain individuals that be incarcerated, right? And this motherfucker, he know all this old jujitsu shit, right? But he about 70-some years old. And so you might got a little young dude who wanna play with him or whatever. He done been and hemmed him up. And that's how it is with you with the lesson. Like you sound let all the other brothers go. And I sit back. Like that old wise man, that old wise owl.
Hey, and I Scribe, I'm just gonna then definitely I want to hear your voice. It's funny you brought that up. It brought up a past memory when I was in Plymouth, Massachusetts. There's a county jail out there, and there's this young brother. He used to walk around like this, and he was big. He'd walk around. Brothers, they'd be on the pull-up bars, and they were state in that jail. They had federal and state, so everybody's mixed with the county. So the county brothers are all wild and stuff because they're getting out soon. So he would come, he would talk. We'd eat the little soup mixes and all that stuff. Right. He'd come talk to me. He said, yo, I don't like that end. I don't like that end on the bar. He always takes too much time on the bar. Blah, blah, blah. I said, bro, just chill. And I didn't have no knowledge back then, but I knew don't mess with K. There's something about K. Don't mess with him.
Don't
He said,
mess
man, I
with
can't
him.
stand that. I can't stand him. Man, next when we have wreck, I'm gonna go kick him off the bar. I said, don't do that. Don't do that, man. So next day, K's on the bar, up and down, real slow. Most of the brothers are trying to get their reps over real quick. K's up and down, real slow. He walks over. Hey, man, you've been on that too long. Get up. All the brothers are just looking. And K comes down slow. Goes, go ahead, brother. Brother gets on the bar. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, getting that money. Yeah. Lockdown for dinner comes. I'm in my cell. I look out because it was a big unit, like 200 men. So they let out one side. I was on the other side. They don't let out. I'm looking down the tier. And during dinner, the two brothers, K tells the brother, hey, let's go in the cell real quick. I want to talk to you. So they go in the cell. Door closes. All you hear is bing, bang, boom, bing, 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 boom, bing, bang, bing, 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 boom, boom. Because the toilets are steel or aluminum, whatever they're made out of. They're made out of metal. Bing, bang, bing. And then nothing, silence. Then the buzzer, and I don't know if any one of you on the panel has ever seen a wounded dog or one of these nature videos where the hyenas are just tearing apart, or the wild dogs are tearing apart a gazelle. The bigger brother comes out, was talking out of that junk, on his hands and knees crawling. Blood is streaming across the white tiles. Kate, because they let us have razors in there. And the guy just cut him right up. And I didn't have any knowledge back then, really. I used to talk to an Islamic brother in there, but I didn't have any knowledge. But that taught me, right there. That taught me that could be you. Even though you're working out, that could be you. So even if you feel you can beat somebody, always show them respect first. And it sounds simple, but listen, there's people in our lives that can get under our skin real quick. So you never know. And but once it's on, it's on. It's go time. It's full throttle. You can't think. Okay, so we can think here and intellectualize and all that. That's great. But in nature is all about no hesitation. So once you make the decision, it's full steam ahead. Else you were going to lose hard. I've experienced that too. So, okay, Scribe, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, we this is why we're doing what we're doing. Is to be able to build something to combat the matrix, so we can lead our children by example, to change these paradigms, because by following within the system that's been set up for us, it's just we're out of our natural state, so we can't we have to think more about what it is that we're doing, because we're not in our natural state. And that's why we're building this here, is to become more in our natural state, so we can more move in alignment with the Eve. And I always tell the youth, to follow results, so that also puts the responsibility back on us, or whoever the leaders are, to follow the results and do what works, because when you have that as your foundation, it's definitely something that allows you to make better decisions, and that's one thing that I love to lead with, is I want to be the example. And by doing so, the children will see, and they will recognize, and they'll feel that frequency and that resonance from you. And it's a beautiful thing, and to love something means to protect something. So this is a big thing that we're growing and that we're building into. And it's gonna take sisters and brothers like yourselves to do that step, and not necessarily overthink, and just take that next step, and do what's necessary for us to grow and expand. You know, because if we don't build our own universe within this matrix, the matrix will always be in control, you know, of what we do, what our children do, you know. So this is beautiful what we're doing here. I appreciate you both for coming up here and you know, letting your energy be felt, and you know, expressing those thoughts, because we love to see you know, brothers and sisters coming together who ain't arguing, always debating and fighting about something. Like, no, we're building, and you know, it builds the camaraderie and just the love for each other, you know. So thank you both for coming up here. And before we, you know, close out the show, I'll let you all give some closing words.
Peace and love, Ahati Maat. Yeah, that was beautiful, brother. I'm not gonna be long-winded, but I just want to welcome the sister Angie. Welcome to the movement, and welcome to brother Sadeeki. My son's name is Sadeeki as well, so I welcome you, brother, and I feel your energy. I feel your good warrior energy, that good warrior energy. You need that. And shout out to y'all for recognizing the truth, because that's this movement. That's what this movement is about. So yes, it's small right now, but it's the truth. And y'all know that everything else is a lie. So what's understood don't need to be discussed. Welcome to the movement again. And that's what it's about. It's about breaking those cycles. Being there for our children. Being there, definitely showing up. And because the wisdom that our ancestors left behind is infallible. You know, we don't need no new, you know. So hell, our Saba Tehuti, Amun, shout out to all you brothers on the panel and sisters. Welcome again. And if anybody got any more closing words, we'll finish up. Peace about OTAP to the chat. Anybody that supports. Anybody got any closing words?
Angie, would you like to have any closing words, sister?
Sure. Peace and love, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you to Shannon really quickly. She left me a comment talking about my But other than that, I just want to say that I'm very grateful to be a part of the team. You know, for a very long time, I told this story to SCRIIIBE before I became an active member, that for a very long time I was very confused growing up because of the things that I was taught, and it was very contradicting. And so to finally be able to find a place where I can find the truth that I've prayed all my life to find, you know, to me that's a blessing. Because no matter who I was praying, I could pray to Jesus, I could pray to the universe. That's all I prayed for, was for wisdom and knowledge of knowing the truth of what's really out there. Because I was tired of being confused and tired of not knowing. And so to finally be here and to soak up all this knowledge like I've dreamed about, it's a beautiful thing. And it's filling my mind and it's filling my heart with so much love and joy. And it's just, I want to be able to spread that out to every and anybody that I come across, because I feel like if you're truly going to live within my eye, that, you know, those are one of the main things, is to love everybody and to share and to spread this knowledge so that we can all become better as a people and greater as a nation. And so, you know, with that being the main priority for this organization, that was the main thing that grabbed my attention, because that's what I was looking for. And so, you know, I'm just truly grateful to be amongst you wise teachers and, you know, amongst all my knowledgeable brothers and sisters that are here to just, you know, push this positive narrative forward, you know, because there's so much media and so much misinformation, you know. And then every time I try to look up some type of documentary about something, they give all the credit to the Greeks. And I'm like, okay, well, just like they said on Hidden Colors, where did the Greeks learn from? So That's what I went to. And, you know, I try to see like little random videos to see if anybody gives us the credit. No, they show like one little Europeanized statue of Nefertiti or some little statue with the nose knocked off and then say that she was white or he was white. And it's just, I can't stand that. I can't stand that. And I'm here for the truth, and I'm here to spread that truth out to every and anybody who's willing to listen.
Thank you
But
for
that's
that.
pretty much all I had to say. So, you know, peace and love, everybody. Let's spread the knowledge.
Peace and love. Appreciate it, sister. We definitely appreciate you being here. Definitely. Sadeeki, you're muted, great brother. Close us out with some good words, my brother. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
He's excited.
Okay. No, I was just saying that the sister Angie, she broke it down so profoundly, you know what I'm saying, as far as like why she joined the movement, you know what I'm saying, became not just a non-act, that's not no disrespect to the non-active members, but jump straight out there and say, you know, I want to be active, you know what I'm saying, because I've been taught these things, I've been praying, and it seems like everything that I'm learning is contradicting itself, it's not making sense. I'm looking at these documentaries and it's saying one thing, I go over here, this one, so I want to go somewhere where individuals is more on like one accord. Like we ain't got ego problems, you know what I'm saying? If you got an issue, like you say, brother, he go to the link right there. You know what I'm saying? That ain't just to individuals that frequently visit or watch the live chat. That's for whoever want to come by. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I just thank you, brother and sister. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing, and I look forward to being a part of this. I look forward to this continue to grow because this right here is the truth, and you can't stop it. The truth don't leave no room for contradiction, nor do it need support. This is just what it is. I understand, like right now, you know, it seems like, you know, the numbers ain't, you know, we ain't focused on that. It's just one of those things that's gonna happen.
I just want to comment real quick that just focus on what you want. Every great movement that I've researched, if somebody's researched one that contradicts what I'm going to say, let me know so I can correct myself. Every great historical movement that went down that we know about, in the beginning, the people were ridiculed, they were spit on, they had rocks thrown at them, some were even beaten. But that's the strength, because without going through that, you get democracy, you get corruption, you get the children being churned out and bred out to be automatons, non-thinking automatons that are self-killing machines. And I refuse to lead a people that way. So I'm ready to take my licks if that has to come to that too. It's just what it is. Who's more important, you or all of us? And both of you, I'm very pleased. I would like you, since you're active, to come on when you're not having connection issues. Of course, I understand if there's emergencies or there's things going on in your life that you can't attend all the time. That's fine. But as active members, I really want you to show your face, because both of you, whether you know it or not, are helping us greatly. Because yeah, it's easy for me, Scribe and Arcat, to sit up here and say, oh, this is the greatest movement, it's the best movement, it's this and that. But the newer the active members come on and tell the truth about who we are and what we're trying to accomplish, the more the attraction and the numbers will go up. And real numbers, not numbers where people just want to not take action. They just want to sit around and leech. Like the Tehuti most used to say, steal the information. I would rather have 10 solid sisters and brothers like you than have 1,000 that when it comes to game time, none of them stand up and do anything. You just look, and I've been in those situations too, where the boys that supposedly have your back, you're the only one getting your butt handed to you. Because when you turn around, they're all running. Yeah, okay.
Man, that's beautiful. I mean, that's what it's about, brother. That's what it's about.
And Angie, Scribe told me you have a fire. I forgot to mention this too, real quickly. He told me that you have a fire brewing in you too.
Oh, definitely. I was just about to say.
When you come on, you never have to hold back, and you know, you just tell it like it is, and we all tell it like it is, and the movement will grow and expand, and then we'll see something that even our grandparents never seen.
Exactly. But just one quick thing, really quickly. As I was doing the timestamps for one of the study guide videos, I noticed that you guys were talking about the Hunab Ku, and I missed it. But I wanted to show you guys that, you know, with my Mayan ancestry, that I have a tattoo of Hunab Ku.
Nice.
You know, I don't necessarily like to put ink on me like that because it can become very addicting. So the only time I put any tattoos on me is when it means something. You know, but my dad, he wasn't happy about that.
That's great. That comes from yes, for the people out there that check out the Stepping on the Matrix book. That's out of there. And the sync linked right up, linked Angie right to us. So we are appreciative.
Yes.
All right, Smiling Arcad. I love Arcad's energy and smile. Sadeeki Arcad has a similar background like us.
Yeah.
And
you know what I want to say about Arcad, right? Because I remember it was weeks back, and he was talking about how like he was shy, like he ain't really want to get in front of the camera.
Yeah,
but
know cat, bro.
What you were saying, brother?
Said I ain't with the cameras, bro. I'm old school, bro.
Yeah, but see, it just goes to show you, right? Like how imperative this truth is, like that it must get out there.
That's a fact.
That you gotta reach people. That you got people like Brother Arcad stepping out of his comfort zone, stuff that he don't even normally do. That's how important it is for people to get this message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only way it's going to be able to resonate within them is people coming, stepping out of them comfort zone, and like you say, making them sacrifices. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to make the sacrifice because a lot of times you don't know what that sacrifice could lead to. You know, you have brothers that died. They didn't get to see. They they called Nat Turner the prophet. You know what I'm saying? And when Nat Turner, I remember reading professors of Nat Turner, and they said that when they went to hanging, they asked Nat Turner. They was like, "Do you still feel like the prophet?" He said, "Was not Jesus crucified?" So that just goes to show you that even though he knew he probably wouldn't live to see the vision coming to fruition, it didn't really matter. It wasn't about just him. It was about them as a whole. As long as I'm doing this for the generations to come. You see how like we introduced the young, because that's who coming up next. Like when I was coming up, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people was getting locked up based on the mandatory minimum laws, and the OGs that we that was there, they was gone. So we was left on our own. We came up on our own. You know, but I ain't gonna get long-winded, man. You know, cause I sit and talk. I talk you to sleep.
I appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying? This is a beautiful thing, bro. That's all I can say, man.
Definitely, you know, and I agree with you because it's definitely that truth that motivates me to get out here. Because I was not with the internet, YouTube, nothing. But I just want to point out to the chat, it's the truth that motivates me. And these situations, you know, all of this as well, knowledge and the wisdom. I'm like Angie, all I want is the truth. You know, I was searching for the truth, and when it presented itself to me, I had to test it, you know, because it came from the religion like everyone else.
Okay, your mic's going in and out.
Yeah, I can't hear you, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm having technical difficulties today, brothers. But I'll close it out. If you guys want to close it out, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, let's close it out.
So we'll close it out. If you guys want to put up the affirmation, Hotep Maat, peace and love to the chat. Scribe, you want to?
Did somebody donate it, Scribe?
Yes, I'm gonna show that real quick before I put the affirmation up. I don't know if it's Nana Amun. Is this you? Verify if this is you. Terry Patty, $21.08. Tuwa for that. Appreciate your support. We appreciate you wholeheartedly. So thank you for sending that in for us. So all right, great brother Arcad, I'll put the affirmation up for you so you can close us out.
Okay, Hotep, can y'all brothers hear me? How my mic sound?
You sound good, brother.
Yep. Sound good, bro.
Great guys, peace and love. The beautiful, beautiful show tonight. We'll close it out like we do everything with our beautiful affirmation on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Anki Maat, NS, Nintet Oset Maat, Men Hapapet Maat, Her in Kui, Her Iku. I live for Ma'at. I exist within her. I do not speak in the place of Ma'at. Every day I advance towards Ma'at. My being is surrounded in darkness. I come forth as conscious light. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Hotep Maat.
Hotep Maat.
But I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.